This episode of the Giant Bombcast is brought to you in part by Lisa. Lisa is an innovative direct-to-consumer online mattress brand. That's right, they're shipping you beds, and also they're socially conscious. In fact, for every 10 mattresses Lisa sells, they'll donate one to a shelter through their 110 program. Not to mention, with a patented universal adaptive feel, Lisa is designed for all types of sleepers. And now, Lisa has expanded its offerings to include the Lisa pillow, blanket, foundation, and frame. You can try a Lisa mattress in your own home for 100 nights risk-free. It's available in the US, UK, Canada, and Germany online with free shipping. That's right, this 100% American-made mattress ships compressed in a box right to your door. Or you can try it at the Lisa Dream Gallery in Soho, NYC, and Virginia Beach, and over 80 West Elm stores nationwide. Get $125 off and get a free pillow when you go to leesa.com/bombcast.
Hey, it's Tuesday, April the 24th. I forgot to check.
Yeah,
424, buddy.
So.
Heck yeah, man. Blazing.
That's right. Let's get it going.
You're listening to Four Dudes, One Podcast. I mean,
I thought we were done with this.
Giant Bombcast.
Gross.
This is...
I don't know. I didn't bring it up.
That's true.
Yeah.
Somebody had to bring it up.
I
just had to go.
I can't remember what that video is.
I've never seen it.
It's just two girls serving each other soft serve.
Okay. All
Yeah,
right.
that's
okay.
what it was.
It's that. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Dream.
Because like that.
Why are we talking about
Do you think they made money off that video?
No, probably not.
No?
Okay.
They probably made money at the time of its recording, and then it got clipped and distributed separately.
Yeah.
And they probably didn't see dime one from the success of Two Girls, One Cup. It's sad.
Ugh.
Sad day.
They should have signed with a proper MCN. I think that would have been someone who could represent their needs.
I was
That was early
sick to my
days.
stomach
Yeah.
before this started.
They were
Yeah.
trailblazers.
No, that's the thing, though. That's what I'm getting at, is that video was not that big a deal because there'd been a billion videos just like it and lead up to that. And maybe that just says
What is
something
it
about me
that one that
and
took off,
seeking
though?
all that stuff out for years.
Name a billion other videos like that.
There was the one with the girl in the bathtub. There was there's a lot of videos.
But none caught on the way that this one did.
No.
Why is that?
Because it was presented well. It was distributed
Production value.
It was,
properly.
it was mainstream.
It
went viral.
it went viral and was turned into a challenge.
Oh,
It was the Tide Pod challenge of its day.
my name's Jason A-Track, and I just want to challenge my good friend Dan Reichert to
Watch this video.
watch this video.
Yeah.
No, I thought you meant do it. Like
No, yeah, that's a separate challenge that we can talk about
Okay.
later. There's money to be made there nowadays.
right. We'll do it for charity.
No, whatever. The money in adult content on the internet has dried up in
Has it?
numerous ways over the years due to piracy and
I suppose.
the ubiquity of clips. Turns out a lot of people only need, I'm told, 2 or 3 minutes of footage.
I was going to say, you say all this as if you have spoken to people who have a business interest in.
I have
in this information.
I have known a couple of people over the years who have had business interests in the adult space, and
They reach out to us from time to time.
and at some point the money was gone because whether it was ad
Interesting.
blockers or whether it was just the unwillingness of people to pay for it. Because so here's the thing, I decided that I was going to start using Firefox, the browser, not the
Okay.
movie.
Congratulations.
Yeah,
It's been a while.
I switched over to Firefox. It had been a while
From Chrome?
From Chrome,
Sure.
Their whole like, hey, we're gonna sandbox Facebook into a bucket over here.
I like that.
Seemed like a neat idea.
Wait, is that different from an incognito window kind of
It is
scenario?
it is kind of a automatic incognito window that it only applies to Facebook. Is
Facebook
cool.
can't access anything else.
That's the basic idea, is that Facebook runs in a sandbox.
All right.
Automatically after you install this extension into Firefox.
I got a suggestion for you. You could go one step further.
So okay.
Don't use Facebook.
So yeah,
I've been
that's
saying that since it came out.
I'm
God damn it.
thinking.
You
I'm
guys
thinking
just-
about that. Also, I'm an admin of the Giant Bomb Facebook page.
Yeah.
So at some point, I'm like,
Yeah.
am I gonna pass this off to the company and let them run it? Because that seems bad too.
Sure. But
So I don't know.
for your stuff though.
For my stuff, I
private
don't really
shit,
use it.
yeah.
It's just it's a mirror of my Twitter feed, which I don't know if that's better or worse or whatever.
I
Anyway,
use it for that.
point being, I had been thinking a lot about Facebook and my non-use of Facebook, and thinking about professionally not using Facebook for a living, to see if there's money to be made in not using Facebook. Anyway, so the half step was I'm going to check out Firefox. Firefox, by default, seemed to use Bing as a search engine.
Weird.
And and that started leading me down this rabbit hole of like Microsoft rewards. If you search with Bing, you can get a Microsoft Xbox Game Pass.
I've seen some of that
and all this other weird
15
stuff.
minutes doing that.
Yeah, and I was
Hell
like
yeah.
staring at it, going like, "This is a really wild scheme." Are they just is the end game just to remind people that Bing exists?
I think that stuff is tied into other Microsoft services too.
So
I wanna
recently,
say,
it's been built into the Xbox
yeah,
rewards
yeah,
program.
I-
Like that's all getting rebranded and
yeah,
merged.
yeah.
So that's why I started
there's
investigating it.
all kinds of stuff you can do to earn points.
And so
5 searches a day.
when it was like, hey, search on Bing to get stuff, I
Yeah.
instinctively just typed in the word butts. And it gave me back hardcore images
Wow.
of ass.
not even cute little just butt.
No, it
butts.
wasn't like, and to be fair, I'd already
Not
turned
even
off
video
whatever
game
their
butts.
safe search equivalent was,
Yeah.
some time ago because
Man,
I'm
just
not a
right out of the-
child.
Firefox
But if you
doesn't
did
mess around.
if you do an image search for butts, it's just like, oh, here's all of it.
Big old booties.
And I was surprised and taken aback. And what I'm saying
Yeah.
is that porn is everywhere, and that's the reason why the adult industry on the internet has suffered so much is because all of that stuff is everywhere.
yeah.
No,
can't not find
you can't
it
not find
at
it.
this point.
But those are the casual users, right? The ones that aren't going to pay money in
Yes,
the first
if
place.
you suddenly, I mean,
There's going to be
yes.
those people out there that are just like, I've already done all the Bing searches for butts that I can do.
If you're down
I
the
need-
rabbit hole and you
yeah.
have specific needs, then yes, I'm sure there's any number of websites
That's
to
where
cater
they're-
to whatever specific thing you need.
Yeah, they're making money off the whales.
I
Yeah.
was Googling Japanese game shows the other day
Go
for
on.
my own purposes.
Sure.
And then lo and behold, just a bunch of porn.
Japanese?
Japanese game show.
No,
porn.
it wasn't even
Just-
Japanese
what?
porn. It was just, I don't know, just framed up like a game show, but it was all
Oh, okay.
not Japanese people. I assume.
Man, we're missing out.
Nor TV
Yeah.
friendly,
No,
I assume.
no, not
Not FCC approved.
nor commute friendly for that matter.
But I would certainly I would maybe be more inclined to watch pornography if it was presented like a Japanese TV show or game show with people in the corner going,
so Disney.
as it was happening.
Yeah.
That type of commentary I think could go a long way.
You're right.
That's true for most things.
Longer than 2
Yeah,
I,
2 to 3
I
minutes.
struggle to think of things that wouldn't be improved.
No, that's,
in that
you're
scenario.
definitely right.
To be fair.
You're definitely right.
Okay, porn talk.
Speaking of things on screen,
Go on. Yeah, of course.
Y'all play that God of War?
Yeah,
Boy.
yeah.
That came out.
Played a lot of that.
Yeah?
Actually, yeah, about 20 hours. Or so.
Wow.
Wow.
Jeez, you were further than I am.
Um,
I'm struggling because my girlfriend insists on watching me play it because she's super into the story.
yeah,
Like
Lisa's super into it
yeah,
as
the
well.
father-son stuff seems to have broad appeal.
Yeah, and
That's what's handled so
you know,
well.
this take on like mythology as well is interesting. You know, portraying all the gods as just straight up dicks for the most part.
Yeah, the lake.
Mm-hmm.
I assume everybody's to the lake.
Yes.
It's pretty. What was that? 5 hours in or something?
Yeah,
When he starts telling the kid like parables and like tales in the boat, and then at some point it just like comes out that like, hey, the gods are assholes. They exist to make mortals suffer.
Yeah, I mean, Kratos has a chip on his shoulder,
Right.
To begin with about gods, but
he's got a point of view.
Well,
Yeah.
that's the thing.
But like
in
all the stories that they've been telling, is like, wow, that's pretty
right
dark.
Like
Yeah.
in the Greek games, you assumed it's like, oh, his family is dead and he's got a reason that he wants vengeance. But here it's just like, oh, okay, it's just a universal truism that gods are assholes.
Yep, they're elitists.
Is it, or is that just Kratos'
Well, that's his
take?
pers- that's his perspective,
his
at
perspective
least.
on
Sure.
it. So I'm sure at some point.
Yeah.
There's a few good gods out there.
Yeah.
And they'll portray at least one of them.
Okay.
Later on. But
Okay.
I don't know that I'm like in love with the game as much as everybody else seems to be. I got a very much Tomb Raider vibe when I first started playing this game.
I totally.
And that's not
Like-
a bad
like-
thing.
like-
Like, I
like
think that's
newer-
a fantastic
Tomb Raiders?
game. Yes.
Like
yeah,
the
like
kind
the
of
Rise of
reboot. Yeah, totally. I absolutely see Rise of the Tomb Raider in this game.
Yeah, even with like some of the combat, with the basic axe stuff, just a general feel is what I got. That
And also
exploration.
Some of the
movement.
little side like areas,
Yes.
like side dungeon-y kind
Yep,
of
like
that's
the little
very-
tombs and stuff, the
totally,
little side
totally.
mission stuff.
Yeah.
But it's slowly progressing more and more into like a God of War game. At first, the camera's very pulled in, right behind his back. and that doesn't lend well to like enemies being all around you. And that doesn't happen too frequently, but later on, it starts to. So enemies will start hitting you from like all angles, and naturally there's like an indicator letting you know. But because the camera's so zoomed in, it's an annoyance. And I found like every time that I come up to like a battle scenario, I'm annoyed by it, and that's not what I want from a God of War game.
So would you say? I mean, you're way deeper in than I am. And so the stuff I said last week was like, oh, the combat feels like it's opening up, and hopefully that's going to be like a thing.
You
because
see that tree like open up, like you can
right,
preview all of that stuff,
definitely,
and you kind of see where it goes.
I guess like the thing I thought like early on, you start to see enemies start to block you, so it's like okay, these points I spent into guard break and stuff like that are now more meaningful.
That's okay.
And I was
like
kind of hoping that like the enemies would ramp up in a similar way to where it's like okay, I need to bring a new facet of this tree to bear here.
You need to unlock one move.
Yeah. So that's I think the in the few hours I've played since last week, I haven't had a ton of time to play.
I'm not going to say that
I have maybe
combat...
started to like unlock more of those moves and been like, oh, maybe this actually isn't as good as I was hoping for.
It seems like there's enough variety for
yeah,
me
there's
there.
variety in there, a little bit for sure. What kind of ticks me off though is that they'll give you these long like attack strings. It's like hit R1 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 and then R2 or something like that. So but the enemies will hit you out of your attacks.
Yeah.
So it's not like really prudent to go through all those strings.
Yeah.
Except in certain situations.
You're totally right. I'm finding myself getting interrupted a lot.
Yeah.
Like I've been trying to do the challenge for the hold R2, just like super hard downward slam thing, and I get knocked out of charging that thing up like half the time.
Yeah, you really got to pick your moments.
Yeah.
And that stuff works in like a Dark Souls-y kind of very slow-paced kind of combat, but in this fast-paced stuff,
it's very frantic, and like you said, you're getting hit by unseen enemies quite a bit. You're right; it can be a lot.
And I unlocked, I think it's like level 4, level 5, or something like that. It's like you can start a different string by like you attack once and then you hold still, like you can't press the direction.
It's like the stance change.
Yeah,
stuff.
stance change, and it's so slow. But there's certain things about the combat that I wish were better, and it certainly has not felt like a God of War game.
Yeah,
but it's felt like a great game.
Yeah,
I mean, not to be.
I mean, I don't want it to feel like a God of War game. Like that. That's like at no point am I playing this going like, oh, I can't wait for it to feel like the old shit, because like that's the last thing.
I was not a fan either, but I could appreciate some things that it was trying to do. And I still had gripes with the original God of War games, and that you would get interrupted out of attacks and stuff, and they were really, really annoying fucking enemies. And there's a bunch in this game as well. But I want the more frenetic combat. I want to swing around the chains and shit like that, and just kind of go ham. As opposed to being more deliberate.
How do you feel about the quick turn? Like something about this game having, I remembered it because he grunts when you do it. So like
forgot about that.
Out of combat, you can just start mashing down on the D-pad and go as he spins around like an idiot.
Pretty great.
But
that's
like something about that game having a quick turn just had a real like, oh, this is like
they know that it's a problem.
Yeah. It's weird, like Resident Evil roots or something where they're like, oh, just like a RE game, we need a cheat shortcut way to turn around, because you
never want to do it though, because you'll see a red indicator behind you, but your first inclination, is to put them in front of your face. But if you do a fast turnaround, you're just going to get hit. So you want to roll out of the way and just kind of keep fat rolling.
Is the block omnidirectional? Like if I
no,
am getting hit from behind? Okay,
no, yeah, you got to have.
I wasn't sure about that because I figured that would be. That seems like that would be the right thing to do there.
Yeah.
If they're going to let enemies attack you from all sides at all times, would be just like, oh, as long as I time the block, he'll fucking spin and do it, and animation will solve the problem.
God, and that really bugs me. That it knocks them if you do a like a parry and then hit any button afterwards. If you have the skills, it'll knock them so far away.
Yes, that was something that when it was those blocking enemies at first, I was like, oh, this is actually like a really good skill tree. Like it helps with a little bit of crowd control.
Yeah.
But now I'm finding like I just want to do a light attack off of that parry and not knock them away, because I can finish them if they stay here.
Yeah. You got to like roll into it and
then
do an attack.
Weird.
Yeah. There's just a lot of weird choices. I think like I want to lump enemies together,
Yep.
But it doesn't lend well to that. At the sake of spoiling, you will get like another weapon later on, and it'll make it feel like more of a God of War game, and it certainly did to me. And I'm like, okay, here we go.
All right,
Now it's on.
Yeah, I guess like more frenetic combat is okay, but like I said, like the minute you say like it feels more like a God of War game, like that's the opposite of what I'm trying to get out of this thing. So
I know what
it's
you're saying. Yeah, we'll see how you feel after
Yeah.
you get that. But other than that, like the on rails platforming and stuff, I can take it or leave it. But the game's gorgeous. But I just want to jump down a 6-foot ledge, man. I don't want the camera to spin around and have Kratos just like climb that 6 feet down, and then turn around again. And that's something that happens a lot in extremely polished games. You think of like a Last of Us or even like Rise of the Tomb Raider. It's just
they want you to see it.
Yeah, Uncharted stuff. That stuff bugs me when agency's taken away from the player.
Sure.
It's when it's not necessary like that.
I spent some time talking to Corey Barlog yesterday.
Yeah.
About all of this stuff.
Ooh.
So he has thoughts on everything you have said in the last 10 minutes.
I would like to
if
ask
you guys
a
are
question.
interested. Yeah.
But overall, like this is probably the best God of War game that I've played. It's my favorite for sure.
Easily. Yeah.
I could stop right now and say that. Like I could stop right now and be like, this is the greatest God of War game they've ever made.
I might be with you.
Because I've enjoyed it, which is more than I can say.
I feel like I've seen a lot of what they have to offer. It's like, they've shown me the offshoot stuff. They've seen me some of the skills where I'm going to solve some puzzles. It's like, I get it.
I like the puzzle solving. I think there's some neat ideas in there.
I have not struggled with anything. That's great.
Yeah.
Too much, I think I've struggled more with combat.
It's not real.
but-
It's more about execution.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of aiming and a lot of timing.
But that stuff is kind of fun. Like it doesn't seem like a chore.
Yeah.
Which,
fun.
Yeah. Is a detriment.
Even like shooting down those ravens, the green glowing bird.
Oh, sure.
Like that, like because you have to lead them because you got to throw the axe. Like
Yeah.
even stuff like that is fun.
Yeah. Hey, you're a parent.
Yeah.
Does any of that father-son stuff resonate with you, or does it seem
No.
corny as hell?
Oh, I think
It's
solid.
it's
I got to a point.
solid.
I got to a point in the story. Like I said, we talked about it last week in more detail. I've maybe played 3 or 4 hours past that, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And I reached a point in the story where suddenly I felt very done with it. The interactions between the father and the son just started to feel contrived.
It gets better. It gets better.
All right.
But
like that seems like a perspective that they were trying to drive home with some of this stuff in regards to just like, oh, this whole father-son thing.
that
I'm just
kid would have
curious,
been
like, do you?
way more impetulant. Like he would have you can tell that he resents his father.
Yeah.
But
I mean, there are
doesn't
elements
wanna
of
mess
that
with
game,
him either.
Right.
But
There are elements of that game where they spell that out
Yep.
pretty plainly.
Yeah.
And I think I got to like kind of the first bit of that, and then
I must not have gotten
the way
that far.
the way the relationship has. You have to. Have.
I haven't gotten any resentment.
Oh, really?
On the part of the kid yet.
Okay. All right. Well, it's I hit a point where like the relationship, the tone of it has changed a little bit. It seems like a temporary thing that they'll probably get away from. But when it happens, it was suddenly just like, man, this is like way less interesting to me for some reason. The interactions have just become.
Kratos as a human is just paper thin. He's got one note either way.
Sure.
Either he's just like extremely angry or he's just like completely gruff and just closed off to whatever.
He's been through a lot.
Yeah, I get that. But he's got a new life now. He's and granted, I don't know. Maybe he's just still mourning his wife or whatever. But
Yeah, like it's if nothing else, it's left me interested to see where it goes from here because I did like the early interactions, and so to have it change like this, I'm like, man, I really hope the rest of the game's not like this because, geez,
there's hills and valleys.
yeah.
So
Apparently, I need to see what you're talking about then, because
Yeah. I feel like you must have gotten there because, like I said, I have not played that much of that game since we last spoke.
I've gotten some pretty tender moments.
how many hours
Which is
past the
good.
lake are you? Would you say?
I am close to done with that area.
Lake
that
is
you
when it
go
kind
to
of
after the lake.
opens up, right?
Okay,
Um,
you are further
okay,
than me
all right.
because I did everything in the lake before I moved on.
Oh, okay, all right, yeah. See, I did not. do
Lake is kind of like the hub world.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe I shouldn't have done that because I'm sure you come back there plenty of times, but I
Yeah,
just couldn't
yeah.
help like running around and doing every
Yeah.
little side quest
Oh,
that
sure.
was there.
Yeah.
I didn't even know there were side quests there for whatever that's worth.
Oh yeah,
So, yeah.
dude. There's,
I found a chest. I went down and found a chest. One of the
Oh, yeah.
one of the ring the bells, open the chest
did
things.
you even do the four spirits thing?
I don't even know what that is.
Wow.
So
You didn't free the dragon?
what?
I freed the dragon.
You didn't explore the mines?
That
I
fight
don't-
pissed
I don't
me
know what
off.
any of that
oh,
shit is.
God.
Which one? The mines?
Freeing the dragon, the very last fight when you're going to go free the dragon, there's
remember what that
two
is.
guys that recover health, and then there's a revenant or a revenant, actually. I think that's the
Is that-
witch, the poison witch,
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
right,
that you
yeah.
can only hit after you've
the
hit her with a
arrow.
bow
Yeah.
a couple times, which
Yeah.
knocks her back. Fucking,
Yeah,
she's
that
standing
Revenant
behind a
is a real pain in
goddamn
the ass.
rock, pelting me with poison. I can't even see her. Then I got 2 regenerating sons of bitches.
Is that in that little temple toward the end of that quest?
Yeah.
Okay, I know what you're talking about. Yeah, the
It's
revenants
right
are
in front of the dragon. But
So some of the enemies in that game can dodge your stuff a little bit more like nimbly than I would like. It's a
Yeah.
real pain in the ass.
Are you guys
Well,
on? Are you guys
most
on-
of the enemies are a pain in the ass, and that's not fun.
I don't know.
Oh, yeah,
I
they
think
are.
most of it is fairly manageable.
Yeah, it's only taken me a couple times, when I do struggle. But at the same time, like I said, I'm looking at these fights like, oh shit, here we go again.
So I've noticed the tips that they add to the bestiary are actually pretty useful.
Oh, yeah?
And in
Yeah.
some
Oh, yeah, I haven't
cases,
looked at that
things
stuff.
I wouldn't have noticed, like the God, what is it called? The tassel worm or whatever, the thing that burrows.
Yep.
The wormy
Oh, right,
things
right,
that go
right.
into the ground. Like I was getting annoyed because they're constantly burrowing. And then finally a tip got added to the bestiary. It was like, oh, if you throw your axe at them while they're burrowing at you, it will force them to pop out.
Oh, that's
so
cool.
like there are ways to manipulate.
Yeah, there's nuance to that combat that they don't expose too well unless
Yeah.
you read about it.
I wasn't too into the axe throwing portion
Love the axe throwing.
until I got a talisman that lets me slow down time, which
Whoa.
is
Oh,
So like that's where the combat really comes together for me. Is
Yes.
there's so much customization and ways to tweak things with the gear that you get, and like that's why I did all the side quests because they all give you a ton of cool.
yeah,
gear.
like you're talking about this game in a very different way than I am, where you're talking about all this loot and stuff, and I'm
Yeah.
like, the loot seems very straightforward in
Oh,
a
I've
way
got,
that I don't
like-
feel like it's even random.
I've got
it just
like
feels
mostly.
like it's,
Well, I doubt any of it is
Yeah.
random, but I've got a bunch of blue and purple stuff equipped now that has given me all kinds of cool
yeah.
effects.
Yeah,
it's
like-
cool that it'll add like a specific move as opposed to just like adding stats.
I've got,
Right.
dude, yeah. There's some like I've got a thing where I've got a chance every single time I get hit, I have a chance to pop a boost to like strength, defense, or runic, I think, and like you get an aura around you.
yeah.
I've got a thing where if I sprint for more than 2 seconds, I become immune to attacks.
Oh, cool.
Like all kinds of stuff like that. There's a
have that.
ton of worthwhile
that sounds cool.
gear, and there's some neat little stories in those side quests too that you get out of that
I
stuff.
should do more side quests.
You guys playing on a pro?
Yeah,
Which are you performance or
I'm on
resolution?
I'm on a 1080p TV,
Oh,
so
right,
I'm on
right.
performance.
Whatever's the resolution, I think is the default,
Default,
for me.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
and it actually
The prob-
runs stable.
So it runs stable, but I switched it to performance.
Yeah.
And I just like being able to turn the camera and have it be smooth or mostly smooth.
It's not smooth enough for
it's
me.
Not
though,
smooth enough,
a lot.
but
Like
it's-
in the dungeons and the tight spaces, you get like a solid 60 FPS, and it's awesome.
yeah.
But then when you're outside and it's kind of like,
something about the locked 30 just made the combat feel like I feel like the combat feels a lot better on
yes,
performance.
yeah, I'm still on performance for that reason. Like it still
but-
feels better.
I kind of don't want to even try it out because then, I'm going to be missing out. As soon as I go back to resolution, it's like, oh.
I feel like it's this
I'm-
is maybe
I'm
the
good
game
with
that
this.
finally put some of that stuff into stark relief for me, that like
Oh, really?
these options in all these pro versions of games and X versions of games are bad.
Yeah.
It's always a
depends on- it
compromise
depends
in
on
a
the game.
frustrating way.
It depends on the
yeah,
game.
well, yeah, every game will, and depending on the player and stuff like that too. But
Like Horizon
I'm
is
left-
really good about it.
I'm left feeling like neither experience is optimal.
In God of War's case, I completely
Yeah.
agree with you.
Yeah.
But like in some games, like Horizon is a really good example of like, if you put it in the performance mode in Horizon, you see extra detail pop in front of you,
Right,
and the
yeah.
frame rate is more stable. Like some games handle it really well.
Yeah, I guess you're right. Maybe it's something with this game specifically.
I think
and
I
not,
totally
not a
agree.
sweeping thing.
This
but
game doesn't nail it on either end.
yeah, that stuff is
It's
frustrating.
yeah,
Um,
I agree.
Yeah,
But the good stuff, though.
Still a good game.
Yeah.
yeah.
The good
I mean,
stuff is
I
really
certainly
good.
want to keep going with it. It's just, I don't know. Like the couple of sessions I'd put in over the weekend, playing my way through that next area, I found myself going like, all right, I'm good. I'm gonna save it and put it down.
I
Like,
felt that a couple times.
maybe I'll come back to it tomorrow. And then I came the next day, came back for a little bit, and I was like, all right. Like it's not inspired. Like most like really fantastic games, I really can't put them down. And I'll put in 10 hours in a stretch or something insane like that. This is just not that game for me.
Maybe go back to the lake, do some of that other stuff.
Yeah, that
like,
stuff sounds.
get some cool gear, and
that
like
stuff
that stuff
sounds
is
more
just
interesting.
like those things have nothing to do with the
Right.
main storyline. So like
Because
maybe
the combat hasn't changed for me
Yeah.
at all, really. Like I've unlocked a few more moves and that changes stuff, but like the gear stuff sounds better.
That
I
sounds
like
neat.
the way that stuff is paced. Yeah.
Yeah.
It doles, pretty significant rewards out for a little bit of effort. I
Yeah.
guess.
Whereas I've just been like buying gear from the dude,
Okay.
and most of it
I
is
barely have.
most of it
I've
doesn't
followed
have
one thing.
stats or it has stats but nothing else. So it's all common, so it doesn't have.
Oh wow!
So it won't
Yeah.
have a
So,
bonus effect. Or,
On top of
like,
getting a bunch of cool drops, I've also gotten items that I can take back to the vendor to cash in for
Right.
like very unique stuff.
Oh.
The bracers I've got have got stats in every category.
Wow.
Like all
Wow.
5
Yeah.
or 6 stats and like 2 effects on them. Like they're like really serious
Yeah,
stuff.
They're
I
really-
only have a couple of effects, and most of those are coming from gems I socketed in.
Okay.
I think, or
And all those items I'm finding off to the side. Like
Yeah.
that's where that stuff is.
Yeah, I
for
struggled
me.
a lot in the beginning
Huh.
with resources and money and but once I get further along, that stuff comes in.
As you explore, it seems like they ramp that stuff. Like now I
Yeah.
have more money than I know what to do with.
There's still too many like currencies as far as like items that you need for specific crafting things. You don't know where to get them. That's a gripe. But
I wish it was a little clearer
money's
about.
coming in now, so I'm
Yeah.
able to like get whatever the hell I want.
I wish they made it more obvious which materials you should hang on to and hoard for future stuff, and which
Right.
ones you're free to just use. Because it seems like some materials are only relevant to a single item, and then some materials are applicable to
Like
practically
the
everything.
soft steel
Yeah,
or
like the
something
soft steel.
can be used in several
Totally.
things, but like certain embers or whatever are only good for one item.
Right, so it's not always obvious what you should be hanging
True.
on to.
Yeah, that stuff's a little arcane.
It's a little busy.
yeah.
All the
Yeah, yeah.
progression stuff it's just a bit complicated.
And some of that stuff with the upgrade tree or the upgrade currencies or whatever you want to call them, the items you find, like that part of the game feels really tacked on to me. In terms of just like, because it is so just like, oh, we find 12 of these things that you haven't even encountered one of them yet. This weird arcane dust or whatever the fuck you need. Like something about that feels incongruous with the rest of the game to me right now. Maybe I'll snap into focus like if I'm getting more of that stuff, but right now it's just like here's 9 different things you don't have, and basically you can't upgrade anything. Like, okay, well, should I buy new gear then to upgrade that, or what? Like the gear progression is not clear, and I'm not like sprinting through the game either. Like I'm following the main quest, but as I go on in those directions, I'm getting everything. Like I'm going off to the sides and doing all this other side shit, carrying these fucking crystals around to open other chests, and like I'm doing all that, but
There's
it's not
so
usually
much stuff
resulting
that's
in
just out of reach in those early stages of the game. Both
You know,
in-
like in a Metroid sense, just like, hey, you don't have the thing, you can't deal with brambles right now.
between that, items that you make, even storyline, I think there's a lot of just not a lot of payoff. I think in those early stages, it's slow. And it's rough to get through. For me, it was, but I'm glad I got through it. It's picking up.
Yeah.
I dig it.
cool.
God of War.
Yeah,
Didn't think I'd like it.
it's a game,
Mm-hmm.
which is good.
It's a fucking beautiful game.
It's a good looking game.
Oh,
Uh,
it's pretty. It's very pretty, man.
What else y'all been playing?
Oh, that's it.
I'm playing the Sword of Ditto.
Yeah.
Which is out today.
Yeah, I want to try that.
That looks super
looks
cute.
really cool.
Do you like The Legend of Zelda in its Super Nintendo form, A Link to the Past?
Yeah.
Oh, it's best form.
Among its
It's
best
best
forms,
form.
sure.
It's best form.
You probably look.
Go on.
I can't have that conversation right now.
Okay.
What would be better?
I mean, Ocarina is pretty incredible. It's in the running. It's in the running.
Sure, it's in the running.
I'd say top 3 for that.
This is not where I expected this conversation to go. Swords of Ditto.
It's out on PS4 today. And I'm not sure if it's out elsewhere or not.
Yeah, it's
I
on
wanna say
Steam.
Steam.
Okay, all right,
It's on
because
Steam.
I know that it was a part of like it was part of their version of what was the summer of arcade or something. It's like Digital Days or whatever the fuck. Buy 3 of these and get 4 free or whatever it is.
Huh. They don't promote those
no, they do
especially
not.
well, because
Yeah.
I didn't even know that was happening.
Anyway, it is not a 1-to-1 with The Legend of Zelda, but like you see elements of that game for sure.
Yeah.
In
it's-
terms of
It's procedural. Parts of it are procedural, right? I was talking to somebody else who has been playing it.
I don't know.
They said that like the dungeons are procedural.
Okay.
Or maybe it's the overworld that is, and the dungeons are pre-built, one or the other. I forget. But
I mean, the setup for the game is definitely one that would lend itself to the world regenerating between like characters or something.
I
So
think I
that-
saw the Steam page describes it as a roguelike.
Okay.
Or somebody
I haven't
did.
died, so I don't know.
Okay.
Or other than at the beginning of the game, you are forced to die, more or less, and that kind of sets up the idea of just like, okay, there's a bad witch or something on this island. No one else on the island knows of any other islands or any way off. And every generation, a hero is born that can wield a sword and becomes a sword of Ditto. And as a sword, you are charged to stop this witch from enacting a horrible blight upon the citizenry of this island, and the game opens with you blowing it immediately and dying, and then 100 years later you wake up, it's like, oh shit is way worse now. And you're being led around by a ghost of a dung beetle who directs you to the sword and kind of sets up other stuff.
Same sword?
Yeah, same sword.
Okay.
And so you have 4 days before this this bad guy does what she's going to do.
Yep.
And so time is a factor, but I'm not 100% clear on how much of a factor. Very early on, they're like, yo, there are ways to get around the time limit. You might want to talk to this person about rewinding time. Also, here's an item that appears to be a currency that will come in handy with that later.
Okay.
And so the game has trophies in it for like, or it puts you off in the direction of like, go defeat this anchor, which anchors her to this world. And if you blow up more of her anchors, she will be easier to fight at the end. And I think you have a choice there about how much of that you want to do before the final confrontation, because there's a trophy for beating her without
doing it.
getting any of the anchors.
Interesting.
So you got 4 days to beat the witch.
Yes, you have 4 days. But that is up to some kind of time chicanery. You can rewind time.
96 hours remain.
Yeah. It literally will say 4 days. It'll pop up like that.
What you're saying, and also it's a paragraph, but the Steam description both make it sound kind of like Rogue Legacy. Not in gameplay terms, but like in the generational aspect.
Oh,
a lot
sure.
like Rogue Legacy. Of like, play a hero, they die. Next generation comes along, it's a different hero, but
you carry something over.
Yeah, so you get something that makes sense. Like I said, I have not died, so I'm not sure where that goes.
It just plays like Link to the Past,
kind of,
more or less.
Yeah, I mean, except you have a role. I mean, you roll around. You do get secondary items. They're all called toys, and you have toy energy. You know how in Link to the Past you had like a magic meter. This is a toy energy meter.
What kind of toys?
You get a Nerf gun right out of the gate that does 0 damage, but it's just like, hey, you're gonna need to solve some puzzles with this later.
Gotcha.
And you get a torch that hey, sometimes you have to light some stuff up to open a door to do this. Like it is Zelda-esque.
Can you hold a bunch of different items?
Yes.
Okay. It doesn't like swap out.
You assign them to it's the triangle button to use, and you assign them to shortcuts on the D-pad.
Okay.
So you can very quickly switch between 4 of the items, but there are more than 4 items. So it seems like you will build. You will get the toys of a legend as you play, and those will be more meaningful things that I assume you'll use in the dungeons as you go.
All right.
And it's got a really great cartoony look to it.
Yeah, I was going to ask because I've only seen screenshots. Like, does that hold up in motion?
Yeah, it moves really well.
Yeah. Is it like cel-shaded 3D stuff, or is it actual hand-drawn?
Looks like hand-drawn.
It looks hand-drawn. I'm not going to speculate on the process involved, but it has a very like hand-drawn look. At times, it looks like one of those images that used to make its way around the internet that are just like impossibly detailed. Of just like, here's this small 2D world,
I know
and
what
like
you're
you can
about.
look at it for hours and find new stuff,
picking stuff out. Yeah,
like it's a less dense version of that, but it's got that similar kind of aesthetic, I guess. Also, it'll run at 1440p if you want on a Pro. Anyway, I assume. I don't know if that's a Pro only thing, but it just has the effect of like everything gets a little bit smaller.
Oh, weird. They don't scale everything?
It has a separate separate slider for scaling the HUD.
Oh, interesting.
So you can set the HUD how you want.
Those probably are 2D assets.
And so I popped it up to 1440, which was nice because you see a little bit more of the world.
And it's not like too small to.
No.
Huh, that's cool.
Yeah. It was like a neat little option in there. I don't know, like there's stuff about the writing that really kind of rubs me the wrong way. Where like
is it that twee?
Yeah.
Yes,
well,
I don't know.
It's a little too
internet humor.
Like you encounter a character. It's not full on internet humor, but you encounter a character very early on who is like a fan of the bad guy, and hit the line of dialogue before he presents the menu of items to buy is like, "I stan for this character," and I'm just like, that's not something I want in this game. Like I don't want anyone to stan for anyone else. I think it's just it's lame. Whatever. So the writing, not all the writing is quite like that. It's not like at every turn you're seeing something along those lines that makes you just go like, man, fuck, I get it, okay. But having that be the first character I encountered after the prologue, I was like, shit, man, I don't know. But yeah, it seems fine in that sense. A groan here and there, I guess I would say, but nothing too egregious, I guess.
I want to play that. I think that looks cool. The
Yeah, it's got
person
local co-op as well.
does?
It does, yeah.
just local.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think so.
I have not tried that, but it does early on. Like you equip stickers, and stickers will have different bonuses, and so you kind of build a loadout around that. As you level, you gain XP. You level up, you can equip more stickers as you level, and so it'll be like, oh, this sticker does 10% poison resistance, or hey, your roll is going to be invincible. Like
cool.
handful of different kind of customizable things there.
Gotcha.
It's neat. I'm not gonna fully endorse it one day or the other, but one way or the other. But I do like the look of it, and I want to check out more of it.
Cool.
It's promising out of the gate for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, I want to play that. I'm gonna get that next, I think.
Yeah. And then we built that cardboard.
Oh God, right, Labo. Jeez,
Yeah,
I guess
talk to
we
me about
should talk
Labo. I
About
missed
Labo.
that.
I don't know. I don't know how much we can say because I think we just kind of built it.
I took the piano home
To
over the
extent-
weekend.
did you?
Yeah.
Yeah. There's a crazy thing that I don't remember seeing us looking on at the stream, but the the studio mode for the piano is
Yeah, I was
crazy.
trying to get into it at the end of that. Like we streamed for close to 5 hours.
Wow.
Almost, yeah.
4.5.
Built the RC car in about 10 minutes and then didn't build anything else until the end of the or didn't finish anything else till the end of the stream. At which point we plinked on the piano for 10 minutes and then stopped.
It works. I got.
Yeah.
What does the car do? Like, does it?
It
actually
vibrates.
Just,
It doesn't have
vibrates?
wheels. It's
just vibrates
on little
around.
cardboard legs. And
Oh,
it does kind
okay.
of. You put both Joy-Con into it, and they vibrate at different frequencies that theoretically will kind of steer it.
Yeah,
a
you
little
can,
bit.
you can
Does it
control
work?
the two Joy-Con frequencies independently to supposedly steer, but it didn't it was not.
It seems like something you could dial in.
Okay.
I feel like
Maybe.
there was something physically that we would have to tweak
Yeah.
because moving like I said, trying to steer it by controlling the Joy-Cons was not working.
Yeah.
Like I said, the alignment was off; it
Right.
would not go straight.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I saw they show you the studio mode when you finish the
Yeah.
piano, but I couldn't. Actually, it seemed like you had to do some of those challenges before you could access it. Is maybe what I thought, or maybe I couldn't find the menu option.
What is studio?
I think
mode?
it's in the play menu. So there's
Okay.
a create, play, explore.
Okay.
And it's listed right after the piano function.
Okay.
And it's a
Oh, is it? It's a separate.
Yeah, it's a
category?
separate whole
Oh, I
thing.
see, I
Yeah.
see.
And it's a 8-track recording
Wow.
that you can
Shit, man, that's the thing I would have wanted to mess with.
Yeah, it's pretty gnarly. It's you can change your piano sounds to actual drum beats and everything.
Wow.
I've seen a couple people recreate stuff from Pokemon and other Nintendo songs. It's pretty in depth. The thing that is kind of annoying is that we built it on Ben's Switch, and then I just taken the cart, and even though I already had the piano built already,
Oh no, it thought you needed to do the whole thing.
exactly. So I had
Oh,
to
wow.
fast forward
The whole thing.
through the whole thing.
Dude, that's a lot of
Yeah.
instructions.
It doesn't give you an option at all to skip it if you've
Yeah.
already built it
That's
or
not
anything.
great.
Yeah.
I
How
feel
long
like
did
I
that
saw
take?
that with the robot, but maybe I'm.
How long did it take to scroll? Because that was dozens of instructions.
It took maybe 20 plus minutes.
Yeah, and it doesn't let you just
No.
you have to hold the button for
Yeah.
5 seconds to go to each next page.
Uh-huh.
Like it's wow, that's
Yeah.
gnarly.
But I mean, I guess that's an instance that probably doesn't happen to a lot of people.
Probably not.
Yeah.
But yeah.
You would bring your Switch with you, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Wow, that's cool. I really want to see that
Yeah.
studio.
So
stuff.
you can mess around with the tempo of everything. It's a pretty basic. It's basically GarageBand,
Right.
but on a Switch. And
Do they have any songs built in you can
I
load up and mess with?
I know in the basic piano mode they have Happy Birthday, they have
Mhm.
Chopsticks, but I don't think in the studio mode they have anything pre-made songs for you to mess around with.
How'd they license Happy Birthday?
Yeah. They just know a guy who knows a guy.
Huh.
Yeah, it's pretty
Marty's
crazy
got
how
some pull.
deep it gets.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It seemed like it. I mean, they've got that freaking scripting / programming kind of visual programming interface in there.
Yeah.
To,
It sounds like people are starting to tear into that a
yeah,
little bit. and-
I'm super curious to see what people come up with.
I saw there was
Seeing
a
the-
guitar mode or something.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
haven't been able to dig that deep to find that, but
Seeing the piano after you built it made me a believer in that whole thing.
Yeah.
It's not for everyone. It's a weirdly specific thing that I think, that if you're in the right group of people or the right age group in some cases, I think you will get a lot out of it. So it's hard to I don't know who to really, who would you recommend this to? But like seeing the piano and seeing it work, I was like, this is fucking rad.
Yeah, that piano thing is awesome.
Yeah.
Especially because you can see how they did everything because you put it together
Right.
yourself. It's
Yeah,
how are they detecting all this stuff? Oh, there are reflective stickers on everything, so they're using
Yeah.
the infrared in there to figure out when you hit keys and when you turn these things.
Yeah.
It's cool. It's like you see the mechanics of it all.
Yeah, it's that stuff's really, really neat.
Yep.
I was really fucking scared tearing into that thing because like the cardboard, it's sturdy, but it still feels like there are delicate parts of it that you feel like you're just gonna rip off at a moment's notice.
Yeah,
and so I spent like the first few hours with that thing being very careful with each little fold and like because it's not like you have
how much is
backup
that
shit.
And how much is that kit?
It's $80 for
80
the
for the
robot.
robot,
I mean, but
70
like you
for
can, theoretically go to their website and print out the stuff to, cut your own cardboard and kind of make your own replacements. But like we were in the middle of the stream, like that's not gonna fucking happen. And so I was like fucking flipping out, going like, all it's gonna take is one fuck up for this whole robot to be basically null and void.
Right.
In terms of just like, this cardboard ripped, I punched it out wrong, and the thing ripped, and well, now we're trying to tape it together, and maybe it'll work, maybe it won't, just all this other stuff. But I got to a point where I was so fucking over it about 3 hours in that I was just like, if it breaks, and just started going a little bit faster at least, and so I think it's sturdier than it felt or looks. I guess was my impression of it.
That's
also,
good.
I think this robot thing. I don't know. Like when
How'd the robot work out?
I'm about halfway through. I finished step 4 of 8.
Of 8?
Yeah.
Oh my god! After how many hours?
I don't know, 4 and change.
Really?
Just about.
That's a weekend project.
Yeah,
Seriously.
yeah.
Like even don't the robot instructions themselves at a point say like, hey, this is a lot to
After,
do in one
after
day.
every couple of steps, it's just like, maybe take a fucking break, dude.
Yeah,
And I kept looking at it going like, that's
Wow.
the smartest thing Nintendo has ever said. It's the first time they've said, hey, maybe take a break. And I've been like, yeah, maybe I fucking should not do any more of this.
Even the piano, by the end of it, I was like, I am ready for this thing to be done, so I can mess with it and stop folding cardboard.
Well, the thing I realized, like around the time we stopped, is as I started putting the backpack together, it was this feeling of just like these straps are not gonna fit adults or some.
Did you make the straps out of cardboard too, or were they ropes,
yeah?
or-
They want you to bend cardboard.
What?
At one point, there's just things just like, just bend this cardboard until it's curved like this. And I just wanted to pick up the switch and go, that's not how cardboard works, motherfucker. And so. I've seen some adults wearing the straps. I feel like my shoulders are just gonna be too broad for that thing.
Okay.
Without like going and getting like longer straps or something. Like we'll see how it goes. Like we need to finish that fucking thing.
Probably, yeah.
And see who it fits into and who not. Because also like the strings will have to go down to your legs. So I think that's the other thing is like there's a
Can't be
height.
too
There's
tall,
kind of a
yeah.
height limit on it also.
Huh.
And I definitely saw some numbers floating around for suggested height limits and stuff like that, where I just looked at it and went like, there's no way I'm gonna be able to use this robot.
Okay.
Unless we start ginning up some hot mods.
You'd think they'd put that on the box, like
I don't know that it's on the box. It is, but there's a lot of text on the box. I didn't necessarily read the whole thing, but I saw that coming out around launch time.
You talking about how cardboard works, put the image in my head of setting that backpack on fire.
Yeah.
Because that's how cardboard works.
That's how
And now I
cardboard
can't
works.
stop thinking about it.
Okay, we'll get a flame retardant suit, put it on,
Can't
and
stop.
then
Like,
we'll set the.
Nobody should set their Labo backpack on fire, but I can't stop. I can't get that image out of my head.
Yeah.
I have a flame retardant suit. We could do that.
Do you really?
Yep.
Man, how much was it?
Free.
Free. Okay. All right.
I mean,
I won't dig too into that.
You've shot scenarios that probably require.
We were liquidating assets.
Yeah.
And then part of that liquidating was like, hey, who wants to take this home?
I'm gonna
And then-
liquidate this into my house.
Camera crew has to be protected.
Yeah, of course.
yeah.
Yeah. I want to be set on fire someday. Is that
I
bad?
can bring a glove in. It's pretty.
I've done that.
Sounds like
it's
some
not
of
the same.
You're right.
Sounds like some of the other stuff in the variety kit is pretty cool. Like the
All of it. Yeah.
I think it was the motorcycle.
and
People
the
were
fishing
saying.
pole. I've heard a
Yeah.
lot of really good things about.
People were saying the motorcycle you can scan real world objects in and use them in courses that you make.
How does that work?
I don't
Does,
know. They probably use the infrared.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because the RC car has an incredibly rudimentary little like here's what the car
Oh,
sees
yeah,
like
that's
video feed on your
Okay.
Switch. Like it looks like
neat.
night vision
Okay.
because I assume it's just using the infrared.
Yeah, I
But
suppose.
it's very like blocky and like kind of not super precise. But
Yeah.
interesting.
It's neat.
it's some cool stuff.
Yeah. It's cool. You can bolt a bunch of stuff to your Switch, and who knows what it'll do.
Right.
Yeah.
Fun
I'm
fact.
anxious to see some like mods and shit.
Yeah,
that'd be really
especially
crazy.
with that visual scripting kind of stuff that's in
Yeah.
there. People will come up with some cool stuff.
The piano works if you dock your Switch. So
Oh,
Next
Oh,
time
right, yeah,
we,
of
we
course,
show it off,
yeah.
we don't have to.
Yeah, it doesn't have
Jimmy
to
rig a mic
It doesn't
next
have to
to
live
it.
in that thing.
Yeah.
Right, of course. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because why would it? Why
Yeah.
would it? It's not like it bolts to it.
oh, duh, right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I completely didn't think about that.
Yeah.
we were just so excited
The
after
Switch
it
doesn't
being
have to
built.
be there to detect anything.
Yeah.
You're right.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I wonder how that would work for stuff like the fishing then,
Yeah.
if it's completely dependent on position-wise.
Right. Well, you'd have to turn your head. Yeah. Well, I don't know.
We'll figure it out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would like to spend some more time fucking around with that stuff.
I want to
And-
finish
and-
that
and
robot.
We definitely need to at least finish that robot for my own sanity. Like,
Mhm.
honestly, I need to finish that fucking robot.
And then
Yeah,
set
I've
it on
come too
fire.
far.
I have a suspicion that the Variety Kit is the one to get.
Totally.
That's
That's definitely the impression I get too.
because you finish stuff faster and there's more to play with in there.
Yeah.
B, the one person I've talked to who finished the robot and also has a child
Mhm.
ended up saying my child loved stomping around in that robot for 2 hours.
Yeah.
Like they didn't. I'm reading between the lines there. They didn't have a lot to say about the software end of the robot.
Right. Yep.
So I don't know how that thing turns out.
Yeah, I wonder how deep you can get with a robot, because it seems like you can program with the RC car.
Yeah.
You can scan stuff with the motorbike. And
Yeah.
who knows what you could do
All
with the
kinds
fishing
of
stuff.
stuff.
Yeah.
And the
Right.
piano. Yeah, there's just so much
Yeah.
creativity in the.
I just
Variety Kit.
I love the idea. It's such a different thing. Like, you know, it's not going to be something that like people who are demanding like more Smash Brothers details are necessarily going to be looking for, right? It's kind of a different thing.
I was
But
shocked.
I love that there's a different thing.
I was shocked when you told me the day before, maybe 2 days before it came out, that there was a segment of Nintendo fans out there who don't like this, who were like upset
Yeah.
about this thing. I had
I
totally
feel-
missed that backlash.
Yeah, I feel like it was divisive at announce, and I think there are
Hmm.
I definitely have seen people who've just been like, man, fuck that shit.
Huh.
Like, why aren't they doing this? Why aren't
Huh.
they putting out this
More
instead?
Smash characters.
Yeah, exactly.
I guess
yeah.
I have curated my social media feeds in a specific way because
Smart.
it was 100%,
Smart.
100% positivity around Labo when it got announced from what
Yeah.
I saw.
Yeah, I don't know. Conceptually, I like it a lot. Like whether the software has like enough going on in this form to like be a lasting thing that makes you feel like the money was worth it.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm not positive on that one.
I don't think there is a sharing interface for the user created stuff, is there?
I don't think so.
That's a
No. Yeah.
real bummer because think about all the stuff people could create
Yeah.
from the ground up with those tools that they could distribute if there was a way.
Hey, someone will find a way to distribute stuff on a
Yeah,
Switch one of these days.
Probably. But I mean, like they're halfway there because there is a save and load interface in that piano stuff. You can save your recordings, and it's
yeah.
literally just like pull up a list of your stuff.
I don't know. We didn't spend enough time in the user created stuff to know. Maybe
yeah.
there's a
Maybe
way
there's a way.
to spit that out,
But I mean,
in an importable format.
taking Mario Maker as the example, I don't know that.
It's a fair point. Yeah.
Yeah. Still cool. Like who knows if they're going to make more Labo packages?
I
but
wonder.
it's a
Yeah.
cool- it's a
Like I
cool
wonder where it
start.
goes from here.
Do you see
Like,
them integrating it with any other games in
I
the future?
think that's probably too big an ask.
You know, I think it'd be hard for them to sell a game that requires
right.
a bunch of Labo
No,
stuff.
no. They
I
hook
could,
up with
but-
like McDonald's or something, and you take the Big Mac box.
Sure,
and then
yeah.
Are you asking about like will they make other games specifically for Labo? I could see that.
Like there are games that have like amiibo functions.
Well, that if you're saying
So-
like maybe the next Smash or Zelda will
Maybe
have
like
Labo integration,
Animal
I doubt
Crossing.
it. I doubt it.
I still see WarioWare as the best like place to put
Oh.
something like this, but
You just really want to see WarioWare.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Any angle you can take.
whatever it takes.
Yep.
To get more WarioWare, I'm here.
Does that visor for the robot have any function?
A Joy-Con fits into it, so
Okay.
I think it'll eventually do some form of head tracking.
I thought it was just for looking cool.
Yeah,
Interesting.
it's both. It's multifunctional.
You're right.
A,
Okay.
look cool. B, do track something.
I
C,
guess.
still looking cool.
Still looking cool over here.
I want to see sales data for that stuff.
Yeah,
wonder
I'm
if-
curious to see how it does. Nintendo was a little weird about sending it out
Mm-hmm.
or not sending it out, as the case may be.
Mhm.
Yeah, we had to buy a
we
copy.
ended up buying that stuff. So I wonder if they're just like, oh, we don't. If on their end they're like, well, you know, enthusiasts that are gonna want more Smash characters, like they're not gonna like it. So let's not even. Or hey, this is we're only.
That's us.
We're going to traffic in
Giant Bomb
outlets
is a
that we
site
think
for
appeal to
wanting more
kids
Smash.
or mainstream or whatever it is. I don't know what the situation was there.
Yeah.
But
That's that should be a good NPD case, right? Because it's 100% retail.
right.
Right.
Well, I think
It's
NPD
not a-
does traffic in some kind of digital stuff
Mhm.
these days,
Uh,
but I've never.
I think it's stuff's still pretty fuzzy, right?
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Yeah.
But Yeah, I would like to know how well that stuff does. It feels like there was not a lot of fanfare around the release, but again, maybe that's because at no point did they say anything to us about Labo. It was just we watched that video when they first announced it.
Yeah.
Went, that looks fucking rad,
Yeah.
and then we bought Labo when it came out.
Yeah.
That's the extent of
More or less.
Labo for us. So I don't know if it was different elsewhere, but yeah.
I popped into a Target over the weekend. There were a bunch of kits on the shelves, and when I picked it up at Best Buy, everyone was clamoring for God of War. But they had kits ready for people to pick up.
Sure.
I mean, that's the beauty of the cardboard design is A, it stacks flat, so
Yeah.
it doesn't take up a lot of shelf space. B, it's super cheap to make, so unlike Rock Band instruments, if it doesn't catch on, like you didn't spend a whole lot of money on plastic.
Just burn it.
Yeah, right.
Burn it.
It's cheap to make and easy to dispose. Biodegradable.
Yeah.
Environmental friendly.
I wonder if we'll see like just the software sitting in used shops or something for like no money because like
people got tired of it.
people will have to go to people will have to go to lengths to get the cardboard, whether they're I think you can buy
Cutting it
replacement
out.
from
Yeah.
Nintendo for not a lot of money.
Yeah.
Or X-Acto knifing their own shit.
Or
some of
laser
those
cut.
pieces are laser cut maybe, but like some of those pieces are specific in a way that like I would not want to make a replacement.
That's my impression.
Like
yeah.
I was very
Oh, yeah,
skittish
no.
about just using their stuff, and their stuff was cut very well and sturdy and stuff. Like the idea of like, okay, now I'm gonna make one of these. No,
Yeah, no way.
like that sounds.
Could you do it with like a thinner but more sturdy material, or does it factor in
I mean, you could do
Like
it with
the
whatever you
thickness
want,
of
right?
them.
Because all in a lot of these cases,
something that's a little more permanent or sturdy?
yeah, like you could, if you think about the visor for the robot, for example, all it really is doing is putting a Joy-Con next to your head.
Okay.
So whatever you build that puts
Oh,
it there,
sure.
you could duct tape it to your hat if you wanted to, and I imagine it would work just as well.
But to be clear, have they put out like actual design specs or like
I think that
documents
I think
that
you can
people can
download
follow?
PDFs of the
Yeah,
cardboard.
right,
I
okay.
think, but
Okay.
I don't know for sure.
because if that's the case, like I can't wait to see what people who have access to like CNC
laser
equipment,
cutter,
Yeah,
decide to like I was like, oh, here's a piano I made out of some
exactly.
space
yeah.
age material.
Totally,
I wonder if-
and it's like way bigger because
Yeah.
we're
Yeah.
just putting there's probably a lot of stuff along those lines you could definitely do.
Yeah.
Okay.
And for our purposes, I'm looking at it going like, if we tied more string onto this string,
Okay.
we could make it work with tall people.
Yeah.
That seems like the
We might have to mod
mods
the
we would
strap.
do. Yeah, and
Some
yes,
string
or
for that.
replace the strap or duct tape it to my back.
We got a hot glue gun.
Or we'll hot glue it directly to
be
my. I'll
fine.
take my shirt off. We'll hot
Okay.
glue it directly to my
I'll
skin.
get my flame retardant suit.
Okay.
We'll hot glue it to you.
Uh-huh.
Nice.
Sold.
This is a plan.
I think you could probably
And set
3D
everything on
print
fire.
3D print fire. Yeah.
Yeah.
You could probably 3D print parts of the piano that are already
Like already
built out.
Three
Yeah.
dimensional.
Like
Yeah,
the
that's I
keys.
was kind of thinking that too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
and then stick that into I guess 3D printed shell instead of laser cutting a whole sheet.
Yeah, because all you would
Yeah.
really need to do is make sure that your reflective stickers are in the right place.
Yeah.
And as long as the Joy-Con, well, I guess the other thing is some of that stuff might work on vibration, right? Because you
Oh,
tap the
that's true.
piano for a little bit of vibration.
Yeah.
Or there's that rubber band
Yeah.
thing. Like
The
that
switch.
that stuff might be harder if you have a tougher
Like a
surface,
rigid, like a
more
rigid thing, as opposed to this kind of flimsy.
So you'd have to account for some of that stuff, and maybe that gets tricky, but it's all seems like doable.
Yeah.
Neat.
Whatever. People are making fucking 3D printing all this Arduino, like all this wild shit. Like they can figure out how to make the fucking
Yeah.
Switch piano
They
work.
will.
I'm
They
sure.
will definitely do some cool stuff.
Yeah.
Labo.
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 Pretty neat.
It's neat.
You know what else is neat?
What's neat?
It's taking a bathroom break.
Now you're talking.
Yeah, let's take a break.
I'm a mess in the bathroom.
At the top of the news this week.
What you got?
Top of the news to you.
The news.
You guys talk about this like
Faith and Bagora.
My shillelagh.
like right at the end of the podcast last week. This happened,
Yeah.
and I don't know. Also, I was running out the door. I don't know. how
We
much
talked
you
a
guys
little bit
talked
about it, but there wasn't, it was really just the crux of the story, not
Right.
really. Yeah.
Yeah, not a lot more details have come out about this, but Call of Duty Black Ops 4 is said to not have a single player campaign.
I feel like the detail is that a lot of people have said, yes, I've heard similar things
Yeah.
from sources
yes.
that this is
Polygon reported it. A site called I believe it's Charlie Intel, right?
Yeah.
Which is I guess pretty much
They've-
all Call of Duty all the time.
Yeah, it's a Call of Duty site that is definitely, they've hunted down or been provided with retail leaks, and they've
some accurate Call of Duty news.
Yeah, they've been pretty good over the years, I would say.
Yeah, so Polygon reported it, then Charlie Intel had some info, and then Kotaku came along and said, hey, we have also spoken to sources, and yes, we can confirm this.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
The big one to me, like when it broke last week, I was like, oh, they decided to make the business swerve to just go full multiplayer.
Yeah.
But then the story that's come out is actually that they were making a single-player campaign that maybe wasn't going to come together in time for release.
Oh,
yeah.
wow.
So now I'm dying to know what that campaign was going to be.
Well, I wonder, because there
Not
was a bit of info a while back about a survey they were running that was very much like, where would you like to see a Call of Duty game set? What conflict? And it was just like Korean War? Just like this long list of conflicts.
That's why I want to know.
And stuff that made it seem like at the time, and granted, that would be a survey for not this game, but like a next one, because this one would be too far along for them to be sending out a survey like that.
But they could use that survey data to say, hey, maybe this campaign we've been doing is not something people want.
Right. But it definitely, the amount of like open questions about like, hey, where should we set a campaign, had this real like fucking we don't know vibe to it.
Yeah.
When I saw the screenshots of it, that was interesting to see.
Yeah.
So like fitting that bit of info into this and going, oh well, yeah, maybe they just didn't feel like they were heading in the right direction.
I just want to know what that direction is. They picked one.
Yeah.
Seriously,
and didn't follow through. But
The thing
Like,
is
is it worse to put out like a bad campaign and get negs because of that, or just like cut the campaign altogether and lose people that really only play for?
yeah, I
the
did see a surprising number of people like just on Twitter and stuff saying like, hey, the campaign is what I played Call
That's
of Duty
the first
for.
thing they
so
go to.
You just lost me.
again, that's you curating your Twitter feed.
I guess.
The same people that like Labo, like the Call of Duty campaign.
That's very possible.
Yeah, I think campaign has been like kind of a good grounding point for Call of Duty year in, year out, where you can kind of take the temperature of the package by virtue of this. The campaigns have been like up and down in quality. Like I think the World War II campaign was a little boring. Infinite Warfare, the campaign was better than the multiplayer, because it was just a bolder, more interesting choices were made in that game, in that game's campaign.
Yeah.
But the campaigns have become straightforward again. World War II didn't really go for it the same way Infinite Warfare did, and I think none of them have really gone for it the way Black Ops 2 did. And so, if you're going to crank out crank out, but I mean, like a lot of people spend a lot of time working on it, obviously. But if you're going to put this thing out and people are maybe going to play through it once and increasing, you have only more and more data that talks about how important the multiplayer is for that franchise. Like at some point, you're not losing a ton of sleep if you cut campaign, unless you're the team of people who've spent a lot of time working on campaign going like, so what are we doing now? But I bet you'll be able to look at the multiplayer in this game and see what the campaign would have been.
Sure.
Maybe not, but I would expect that you'd be able to look at it, at least motif-wise, and like where are these maps set, and try to
what era are these guns
and
from?
maybe piece this together. But who knows? I just don't know.
But if you're working on Black Ops 4 and you want to tell us anonymously what it was going to be, feel free.
We would love
Weird.
to know.
Yeah, it's not like they can shift the people that were working on the campaign directly over to like, hey, now you guys, instead of writing, you're making multiplayer maps.
Yeah, maybe. So that's
And also maybe there's
What happens to those people?
potential for more co-op stuff.
Yeah, maybe that's true.
Coming out of this was like, hey, well, what's the third mode? And that talk seems to have pivoted as well. But
do you like 100 players?
Yes,
Dropping onto an island.
yeah, sure. But can Call of Duty do 100 players?
According to Charlie Intel, no. But
Right.
but that's the rumor, which again multiple other outlets have confirmed that they verified, is that Raven Software is doing a battle royale mode for Black Ops 4.
Sure. Raven has worked on Call of Duty Online in the past, which is the free-to-play Chinese Call of Duty. They tested a battle royale style mode there. I don't know if Raven did that work per se, but I mean, the concept of putting this mode into Call of Duty is not unheard of.
Yeah.
But that didn't have the player count.
And also the most predictable thing ever.
Sure.
Like, of course they were going to do this. It's like we've been saying, it's the biggest thing to happen to shooters since Call of Duty 4.
Right.
So.
If anything, it's surprising to me that it is going to make it into this year's game.
Yeah, it's pretty quick.
And that it didn't take them longer, but I guess like whatever.
But that came from Eurogamer. I read it on Charlie Intel, but they got it from Eurogamer.
Yeah.
It says Eurogamer has further backed up our information that there is a Battle Royale mode in Black Ops 4 with their own sources, but take it a step further. Their sources state that the developers are currently unable to reach the magic 100 player number in the Battle Royale mode.
Yeah, and I think that's...
But they want to reach that number for the launch.
They should.
Right.
They should.
Yeah.
I don't know that that's make or break for me. Does it
It,
have to
it-
have
like
100
it
people?
depends on map size. It
Yeah.
depends on that sort of stuff. But I think if you've just got Call of Duty maps with 16 players in them, last man standing, like who
That's
cares?
the fucking
Who
deathmatch.
cares?
Yeah.
Right. It's a deathmatch with no respawns at
Yeah.
that point. That's not interesting.
Yeah, that's true.
It's the change of pace. It's the tension that comes from a
I'm talking like
long-lasting battle
50
royale.
people, 75 people, maybe not quite.
Maybe not
100.
quite 100. Yeah, you could probably
I think you can get away
make
with
that work. But then a 50-player game broken up into squads, then suddenly that's less interesting, you know?
Sure.
So, yeah, I am interested to see what form this takes. There was also like some loose talk about like maybe this would lead to, like I said, some more kind of focus on a co-op mode or something, probably set on the multiplayer maps or something in addition to just the zombies mode.
You know,
Maybe
something like Spec Ops. Maybe?
yeah,
that would be
but not like
cool.
but remember that first Spec Ops mode was rad, but it was based on campaign maps.
Right. Well,
Well,
but
shit, man. Maybe if they have a bunch of campaign assets that
Yeah,
they're not
exactly,
using, maybe
exactly.
they're actually going to chop those up and reconfigure them.
exactly, like that could be pretty cool, actually.
Like if you pull the story all the way out and just go like, I don't know, it was a hostage.
Yeah.
Like
To be fair, Spec Ops was 8-9 years ago.
yeah,
It's been a while.
It's a while back.
There've been a lot of co-op shooter type things since then, so
Yeah.
maybe that's not quite as fresh these days, but
Right.
maybe they've got some good ideas.
So do you think they still charge full price?
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
If
sure
anything,
sure
this
they
is
will.
their willingness to do this only says like, hey, we're confident that we can make the base package feel like it's worth $60, and on top of that, you know, they're selling more and more crates. They're selling more and more, you know, currency for opening crate, like that sort of stuff. The post game kind of add on cosmetic stuff. I guess it's not all cosmetic. The guns are guns.
Right.
Is only grown for them.
Yeah.
So I think they probably
have
are
the-
having some confidence around that
Do you
too.
have the sense that stuff is doing well?
They keep, you know, like Call of Duty World War II is like on its third event, and each event is just like, hey, here's new crates with new shit in them. And they sometimes they time it to the release of DLC. There was like a St. Patrick's Day event that came and went. It's exactly the same blueprint they used for Modern Warfare Remastered in terms of just like adding another grip of cosmetic items or another grip of items, you know, cosmetic or otherwise. And then some of those are time limited. So like if you don't open those crates while that event is on, it becomes harder to get those crates later on. So you better put in your money now. Like it's kind of gross.
Games as a service.
Yeah.
Thank you guys. You're serving us quite well. I would feel so slighted if I was in it for the campaign primarily.
Oh, sure. Yeah. If you know, of course, if you like the campaign and there's suddenly no campaign, then you're like,
Yeah.
well, what am I doing here?
Well, no, I mean just that they're still charging full price for this. If multiplayer was like the secondary thing, that
but
I-
if they
that I
can
went
if they
to.
can parlay this into, hey, the multiplayer has a lot more going on.
I wonder
Because it's got these other modes, and also maybe it has more maps, or maybe it's got, you know, if they can, I think there's a way to make this story right if they've got the content to back it up.
Yep.
And we don't know if they do or not. For me, the problem becomes like that's a larger reliance on zombies, which is a mode I have not wanted anything to do with ever.
But it's popular, right?
It is. It is. But like that, the popularity of it as someone who doesn't want to play it makes me say, spin it out into its own game and give me more of the thing I actually like.
Okay.
Instead of like forcing me to subsidize this shit that I don't want to touch.
Right.
And so that's harder. But I am interested enough in a battle royale mode to at least like hear what they have to say about it. I don't think we've quite hit a saturation point for that. But at the same time, I don't know that the Call of Duty gameplay mapped onto that style of game. Like that's not how I play Call of Duty.
Right.
Like the defensive tactic of be careful, I don't want to die. Like I don't give a shit. Just hit respawn and go.
It's
That
kind of
game
the
is all
opposite
about
of the way that you play PUBG.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So trying to cram something like this into that, I don't know how well that works.
Yeah.
Because I don't I don't like the round based modes in Call of Duty specifically because like I want to play the game.
Right. And also Call of Duty is not a distance game. Like it's all close like pretty close quarters, like
Sure.
coming
Like,
around
even
coming around corners and being right in people's faces. It's
Yeah.
not like it's not being 500 yards away. Like
Yeah.
this is
Like,
like sighting in a sniper rifle.
You've got sniper rifles like that. That
Yeah.
stuff does happen, but not even not at the range that it happens in even like Battlefield.
Right.
Uh,
Speaking of Battlefield,
mhm.
shortly after all this stuff came out about Call of Duty, Jeff Grubb over at VentureBeat said the same thing is going on with Battlefield 5,
Of course,
which is still unannounced. To be fair, they have not actually revealed Battlefield 5, but
Oh right. Yeah.
he-
Okay.
E3 is soon.
Yeah.
But yeah, he broke the existence of that game a few weeks ago, and now he says they are prototyping a battle royale mode.
Yeah. Whether that
for
makes
that
it into
game.
the shipping product, who
Yeah,
knows?
yeah,
But like
this
everyone
story-
is prototyping something.
This story flat out says it will not.
Ah.
I don't know if that's his speculation or if he knows that absolutely for a fact, but he says that at DICE it's still in the prototype phase, and basically he's saying this would be an update post launch if it comes out. Like it sounds
Right.
like they're still just testing and seeing if it actually is even a good idea for this game.
I could
but
see
if
it
it
working
does-
better for Battlefield than it ever would for Call of
Totally,
Duty.
yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. Those maps are already bigger. You're already kind
Yeah.
of operating at a bigger scale.
But honestly, man, like I don't know for sure, but I'm pretty sure if you dig down deep enough into Call of Duty, you find QuakeNet code.
Probably.
Like that's not 100 play.
Yeah.
I wonder.
Yeah, I don't know. Let's see. Yeah, he speculates that it could be a free update for Battlefield 5.
I could see it.
Could be a paid thing, but probably almost definitely not part of the shipping product, according to him.
It almost seems like it's better off as a free add-on for the game
Yeah.
to, get people like another surge of interest post-release to be like, oh,
Yeah.
hey, this is in there now.
Also, you'd probably risk turning some like longtime fans off with a mode like that if they just want their freaking Battlefield.
Yeah, like that mode's impact on other modes in a game with the popularity of Battle Royale right now could be devastating.
Yeah, definitely.
To people who like those other modes.
Yep.
It's like, oh yeah, you want to guard this crate? No, never again.
Right.
Am I going to guard this control point because I'm too busy over here
Yeah.
sitting on top of this toilet with a shotgun?
Don't we all?
Start my morning.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well, a lot of people still like Battlefield as it is, so I don't know that that's a thing to pivot to.
I mean, it's impossible not to chase it.
Totally.
It's too big not
Yeah,
to.
absolutely.
At least prototype it. And if you do the work and then come away from it going like, actually, we don't think this is fun,
Yeah.
or we don't think this is like good enough to risk fucking up our game because we don't think if it's not going to be big enough to knock off one of the two big ones and
Then why
last
even
for years
try?
and years and bring in that amount of money, because like you do it as a free update because then you're selling cosmetics, because that's becoming the expected cycle for these games. Is like, hey, you get more stuff.
Yep.
Darwin Project went free to play, which I think was always the plan.
Okay, I was going to say that's been out for like a month maybe.
Yeah, but it's still, I feel like it flipped a little bit faster, and it's like still in some kind of early access, which was weird. I thought it would be like, hey, we're going to go free when it's done.
Right. The game seemed like it had some neat ideas, but not quite the same
Not
thing.
quite the same thing.
Yeah. Kind of like Hunt Showdown is also not quite
Right.
the same thing. Like they both use ideas of Battle Royale, but they're not exactly that.
And I think that's exciting, but at the same time, it's not necessarily what I'm looking for when I want a Battle Royale style game.
Yeah.
Royale. Hard to sometimes say that a lot of times. Royale.
In other Battle Royale news,
Finally.
because that's what video games are now. Player Unknown's Battlegrounds is getting map select finally. That's either going into testing on the test server soon, or it may be up by now. As of like mid last week, it was not up.
Does that include the small map now? Or is that...
Yes, I believe on the test server that will include the small map.
So how many maps?
That's the third one.
Third. Okay.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Wonder how much that splits people.
Yeah.
Gameplay is still not drastically different, but still pretty
On the small map?
Yeah.
Yeah, the pace of it's very different.
Yeah.
I think this probably kills that second map,
Oh, I hope not.
That's what I'm.
because that
Thinking.
was it
That's-
seems like that people have really turned a corner into full on hating that thing.
even after all those changes they made.
I don't know. I
Huh.
guess I can't speak to that, but
That's a large percentage of the total maps in that game.
right.
That's
Like,
unfortunate.
letting people opt out of that map completely seems like the right thing to do from players don't like your map, but something about Something about map select feels like murder to
Something.
to that map.
Yeah, I hope they figure that out. But or maybe they don't. There's still 2 other maps.
I thought that they would just never do that in particular.
It
but
seems
it would
risky.
be like, hey, if you want to play on the small map, that's a separate, just like you opt into first person instead of third person, there's also small.
Let me click through. I'm trying to figure out exactly. I don't think it's that you pick the map you want to play. I believe you toggle maps on and off.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's based on the screenshot they put out. It looks like you will flag maps as part of your rotation or not.
But there's only 3.
Yeah, I mean, I guess
Yeah,
if you
so
just
you can-
flagged one map, that's like
Yeah.
de facto picking that map. So yeah,
And then maybe it takes longer for you to match in some situations if you want the map no one else wants. Or something
I got to
like
say,
that. I
like
don't know,
the second that it starts taking, say, an extra 20 seconds to find a match in that game, it's just about the time that I start thinking about not playing that
really?
anymore.
yeah.
Like the fact that you can get right back into a match is
It's
crucial.
It's what makes a game with no respawns work.
Yeah.
Is that you can very quickly go fuck and then get back in.
Yeah, but if match search times start turning into multiple minutes or something like that,
Yeah.
no thanks. Valve acquired Campo Santo.
That's crazy. That's
Yeah.
cool. Whoa.
Oh, that's
Congrats to those guys.
totally. Had you not heard?
Oh no,
Yeah.
I was reacting.
Damn it, you fooled me. It's like, man, he's
Aha.
totally stunned by this news.
I feel like I was just on the verge of figuring out what the fuck Firewatch was, and now
Yeah.
we'll never know.
No information makes its way out of Valve, so
Yeah.
yeah, you're screwed.
Yeah.
That's cool. I mean, there's not a whole lot more to the story than that.
They said that they are still going to make their game.
Yeah,
Okay.
they're working on In the Valley of Gods, which looks really cool.
But this is going to be a Valve joint now, or
I mean, yeah,
they-
I'm sure it'll come out. Well, they make it sound like I assume they'll retain the Campo Santo name.
really okay.
At least for now. I don't know.
I
wonder.
don't see why you would,
Yeah.
unless you're like really well, whatever. It's a good name.
Yeah.
But the people who know what a Campo Santo is will also have heard this news
Yeah.
and not be fooled by it
sure.
coming out if it had a Valve logo on it.
I feel like maybe I thought there was some language in this blog post that made it sound like they wanted to retain that identity.
Yeah,
but,
it's a cool name.
I'm trying to find it.
But they're gonna.
Well, I don't know. Yes, we're still making In the
Keep
Valley
working
of
on their own
Gods
stuff.
as a
Okay.
Valve game. So
As a
yeah,
Valve
I
game,
guess I
yeah.
guess it
Gotcha.
maybe it is literally coming out with the Valve name on it.
Hmm.
Yes, we'll still support Firewatch. Yes, we'll still produce the quarterly review. They put out a quarterly magazine. I don't know if you saw our newsletter,
That's cool.
which is cool.
Is that why Valve realized they needed some people who could write some stuff because they
don't
didn't
know,
have any
maybe.
people like that level?
I mean, that's the big question. Is like, so they're all moving to Seattle. I mean, I'm sure they're going to work out of the Valve office.
This reminds me of when suddenly the people behind Old Man Murray were at Valve.
Yeah.
Like it has something about it has that vibe.
I mean, the people who made Narbacular Drop
Right.
joined Valve and made Portal.
well, sure.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Like Valve does this kind of thing. But
That's true.
yeah, like I guess the big question is after this game comes out, what happens? Do they remain a 12-person team making a third game?
Yeah, I wonder.
I
Or
think
do-
just
or do
it
they-
depends on where they roll their desks to
Or
that
they- or
day.
do they
move their desks over into the customer service pit?
Yeah,
and
do
just
they
get
all-
back to people for a change?
Do they
Or,
all
you know,
they all just do they diffuse into the organism that is
Yeah.
Valve after this game ships? I don't know.
They might not even know that they work there. Like you just keep rolling to a different office every day.
no, yeah. As long as the checks
Like
keep
you work
clearing.
here?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, all right.
Oh yeah.
And then when they try and fire you, just
Roll to another team.
Yep.
It's like, okay, well, I'll get my stuff and leave, I guess, and then just
Yep.
roll over to somewhere
ya.
else.
And then of course this news cued a zillion jokes to the effect of, "Hey, Valve makes games again."
aha.
If you
and
you
so
run down the
forth.
list of games that are Valve games,
Oh, yeah, no, I
like
mean-
the vast majority of them were acquired by Valve.
Yeah,
and,
yeah, totally.
And put out. It's
nothing new.
Yeah, Counter-Strike,
uh-huh.
Portal,
TF2,
Portal,
to a
arguably
degree,
TF2. That wasn't Left 4 Dead in development at Turtle Rock
Yeah,
before
I believe so.
Dota.
Dota, of course. Ricochet.
What else is there? That's most of it.
Aliens. Is that them?
Whatever. I mean,
Yeah.
they take those projects and turn them into something pretty special. Like they've got.
Or they have an eye for special projects
Yes.
and they bring them in and say, finish it up.
Well, but I mean,
Or-
the stuff that they've added to those games after the fact, like that,
Yeah.
there is a Valve touch that.
Hats.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, exactly.
Hats.
That is that what the future support of Firewatch actually means?
Oh, I hope so.
Is it just like more hats
I hope so.
in this first person game?
Yeah, it seems like a good match. Congrats to them.
Yeah, it's cool.
Curious to see what happens after. That game looks neat. That first trailer they put out looks quite striking. You should remember when Capcom put out that Puzzle Fighter game
Barely.
on mobile
Yeah.
Kind of.
5 months ago.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah.
It's called a grand opening. Go on.
They're shutting it down.
Grand closing.
What?
Oh.
Grand closing.
It is available till July 31st, but they have already suspended microtransactions. Wow. I believe. Let's see. There's a range of dates here.
I think it's like in-game currency
Yeah.
can still be spent,
Yes,
but no longer purchased.
Yeah, in-app purchases ended yesterday. Game will be pulled from app stores on July 1st. But for now, they're handing out 10,000 in-game gems. They're making Regina, Dr. Wily, and Ada Wong free.
Finally.
Also, the soundtrack is on SoundCloud.
Hey.
If you like SoundCloud.
I don't remember any of the music to that
But
game.
I played basically the tutorial for that game and like maybe one more match after that, and I was like, nope.
Yeah,
It was too much.
I hated the touch controls in that
Yep.
thing. I
Yeah.
thought it was
Well, between that,
abysmal.
it seemed like the way they were monetizing just sucked.
Yeah, and then I heard, once you got past the basic mechanical problems, it sounds like the business model was wretched.
Yeah, I hit a wall with that, and quickly uninstalled.
Was it? I think Ben was the one saying that like characters would go on sale with like high stats, and then as soon as the sale ended, they would like nerf those characters.
Oh, really?
And, like, just they were
Balance
manipulating the economy in terrible ways. Yeah, that sounds
Awesome.
awful.
That's when I think Puzzle Fighter. That's what I think of.
You know what is a good game?
What?
Super Puzzle
Super
Fighter.
Puzzle Fighter 2
2
Turbo.
Turbo.
Yes, that game is pretty good.
Yeah.
That HD remake still pretty good.
Yup.
Not bad. They could have redone some of the art, but it's pretty good.
Yeah.
This game was not. Oh,
Those characters were ugly.
also Capcom Vancouver was making that thing.
Yeah.
Capcom said, "Hey, they're going to focus on Dead Rising now."
Okay.
So
Get back to work.
I guess there's a Dead Rising 5 probably happening based on that.
Frank's bigger package.
What else would it be?
Yeah.
Remastered.
I mean, that's what that
I-
Vancouver studio does, right?
Yeah, I know. I feel like Dead Rising 4 just kind of came and went.
Yeah.
Maybe it's sold better than we know.
Yeah, I don't know.
Ultra
It
big package.
feels like it did not get a lot of attention.
Who knows?
So
Yeah.
I can't say.
So don't.
Um,
Don't do it. Don't.
Let's see. SNK.
Okay. All right.
You know them.
Yes.
According to this story I picked up from Kotaku, they are on the verge of their 40th anniversary
Good on them.
as a company.
Grats.
Yeah.
They've announced some kind of new game machine.
I see.
Another
It was under a curtain or a
Yeah.
drape.
Yeah, yeah.
They-
But
that
it
means
looks
it's-
like a tiny mini
yeah,
arcade
it looks
cabinet.
like the dimensions of
Yeah.
whatever
What?
was under that
Like
drape,
almost like a ball joystick,
kind of a
kind of
tall-
poking out,
like a
Weird.
tall, like a vertically oriented thing.
like a. I'm saying about
Yeah.
you know, shoebox size or maybe
Okay.
a
But on a
larger.
shoebox-
Hard to say.
Shoebox on its end, though,
Yeah.
standing up.
Yeah.
So probably a small arcade cabinet.
With
Let's
Neo
guess.
Geo games on it.
Yeah.
Okay. So not like a handheld device. Well, they just released one of those, like what, 5 years ago or something.
Yeah, that thing sucked.
Yeah,
Wait.
it was not great.
Wait, what?
The Neo Geo X Gold.
Yeah, something like
Yeah.
that.
Wow.
It was
Yeah.
a handheld Neo Geo,
I don't-
and they were selling like packs
Packs.
of games for like $80 that had like 10 games on it or something.
I don't remember that at all.
Yeah,
Exactly.
It was
Hmm.
not a great item.
Hmm.
And then there was some lawsuit around that, whether who was like were they legally allowed to create them, or
Oh, really?
there was like weird stuff around the rights at one point. I'm
Huh.
not sure what the result of that was,
Forgot all about that
but
thing.
yeah, it was not a great device.
Anyway, they say this will feature a compilation of popular Neo Geo games.
And they'll sell packs of games, probably. Oh, yeah.
Who knows?
Yeah,
People
we'll
to work
see.
with those packs.
Yeah. Yeah, hopefully it
Um,
works a lot like. Well, shit, that's already
It seems like they took a look
not
at
big
the-
enough to put like a fucking Neo Geo card in.
Right. No.
Oh, I
th-
know,
This
no,
is,
definitely
this is
not.
like going to be like a SNES classic.
Yeah, this
type
is
thing,
their SNES
Yeah.
classic,
but
for
with a
sure.
screen built in, probably.
almost for sure.
That
Just
sounds pretty cool.
assuming the dimensions of the thing under the curtain are what it actually is, and that's not just a placeholder for the thing they're making. But
Yeah.
that's my assumption.
Yeah.
I like
is that
mini
it-
arcade cabinets.
I bet
That
it'll
sounds
be.
kinda
I
cool.
bet when I think about what that thing should be, red sides.
Yeah,
Like that, it
yeah,
should look
like-
like a Neo Geo
like
cabinet,
the-
like a
Mhm.
4-slot.
Yeah, the MVS has a look to it that is
Yeah.
pretty like borderline iconic to me.
Yeah.
Like
so
if it looks
yeah.
exactly like that, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
It should have Magician Lord on it.
like a bar top
thing, maybe.
It should have.
I don't know.
It should have NOM 1975.
Mm.
It should have Ninja Combat and the Super Spy
Look,
Okay.
and Cyber Lip.
yeah,
Yeah.
but also
I'm not saying they're all great games.
They've made some fighting games that are pretty good.
I mean, but that
all of this
Sure.
stuff has been released elsewhere now.
Yeah.
A lot of times.
Yeah.
Most of it is on the Switch. A lot of it has come to PS4. It's come to the PC in various configurations. Like, there is no shortage of ways for you to play Neo Geo
yeah,
games
but
these days.
if they are positioning this like a SNES classic, it's like a cross section of what made the system.
Sure.
Right. Which,
So-
that's weird. That's weird.
I don't know. That's what these nostalgia
Right.
things are.
Can I plug in a second controller?
Like you got to put a few of the launch
Or
games
is it
on
Man.
there.
wide enough to be like a side by side?
I don't want to get
'cause-
that
But
close to
that's
anyone.
that's a little tight.
If this thing is just
Uh,
for fighting games, I don't think that's super interesting.
Yeah, because
I'm
that's
with you.
not.
I'm with you.
I don't think. I think people who want to play those fighting games have like
There are way
better ways to do
yeah,
it.
Totally.
Still, just put some Samurai Showdown 2 on there.
Yeah, you should have.
You
You
should
should definitely have.
on there.
You should definitely have some of them for sure.
But
Oh, you're just arguing this is not a good way to play Neo Geo games in general.
there are so many
Probably.
other ways to play them now that
Yeah.
like this seems like a really strange.
Sure.
Yeah, I don't know about this. Like they're literally in the process of putting out a 40th anniversary collection of older SNK games on the Switch.
Yeah.
Or I guess is that multi-platform? I think maybe that's multi-platform. I forget. But yeah, I don't know. Like Hamster has done the work already. A lot of these games have come out for modern platforms at an affordable price that lets you pick and choose which ones you want. Instead of like I can't think of like here's a list of Neo Geo games that is going to satisfy every potential customer of this thing.
Sure.
Unless you have them all. Like it's a really hard that's a really hard job because like either you're making the one that you're talking about of like, hey, put in Cyberlip and cross swords and like all this other stuff that like is cool but is not the stuff you know SNK for anymore. Because what you want in a mainstream sense is like put a bunch of Metal Slug and fighting games on it, done. But that's not a great item either because all of those games have been sold and resold to death.
Yeah.
So it's hard for me to envision this. Well, whatever.
Also, I mean, the screen's going to be tiny. The joystick's probably small. Like, it's probably not a great... But if it looks...
They make
the SNES
like
Classic
a
was a
fully
cool
functional
looking
like
thing.
bar
Yeah.
top
Yeah.
arcade machine.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
will buy it regardless.
If it's a, like, if it's just a small MVS that
If
sits
it's a
on a
cool
shelf...
looking NVS
Yeah.
cabinet for a shelf, then
'Cause
I
I
guess
will
that's
mod the shit out of it.
That is the value of this thing to me, for sure.
maybe. Yeah. Maybe I'm just overthinking it, but
Fucking spent so much time in the basement of the pool hall in my town that had probably 8 MVS cabinets in it.
Whoa.
it's a lot.
And nobody was ever in there. They had MK2 and like 8 MVSs.
Man.
And 90% of the time I went there was not a single person in the arcade.
Man.
It was incredible.
I just didn't know.
Played so many games in there. Let's see. A couple of little game announcements with E3 approaching. Housemarque announced a new game.
Cool.
Since
I like
they
those
said,
guys.
hey, we're not making arcade-style little games anymore,
Really?
if you remember that.
I
yeah,
do.
Yeah, they put out a statement a few months ago that said, our games just haven't sold in significant numbers.
I could point to a few reasons beyond them being quote unquote arcade games that I think that they maybe didn't do super great. But
I like Nex Machina quite a bit.
it's okay.
I mean, yeah, there are things I would change about it.
Yeah,
but-
I feel like that's my feeling on a lot of their games. Like over the last handful of years, like yeah, these are okay.
Yeah. Resogun and that one are probably my two favorites
Yeah.
from this era. Matterfall was okay.
I did not like Matterfall.
Yeah, I tried to get into it.
What else did you do? Like Dead Nation?
Did not like Dead Nation.
Dead Nation's no good. That
Yeah.
Alien Nation is them as well.
That was okay.
That was
okay.
pretty good.
That was kind of neat. Anyway, yeah, they've dispensed with little action-y arcade games like that.
But at the same time, like this teaser announcement says so much of nothing that it's hard to get
Yeah.
a sense of like the size and scope in
Oh.
terms of it being bigger. And also, I think they even use the word arcade in its description.
Do they?
In the 3 sentences they put out around it. It was like, we're known for our arcade stuff, and you'll still see some of that, but also it's bigger.
Yeah.
It still read like it was hedging to me.
Maybe so. It's the new game is called Stormdivers.
Not Helldivers.
No,
Oh.
different thing.
Are we sure?
It
Yes.
runs on Unreal Engine because that logo is in the trailer, and can't say much else about it because the trailer shows almost nothing.
Yeah.
Stormdivers.
There's some like flaming ember type stuff floating through the air.
Something.
and like a grassland and some stone.
Diving in the storm.
Yeah, and so I think maybe some clouds and thunder. That's about
Maybe
it.
a storm.
Weather watches.
Yeah.
But they're making it on Unreal. They say they've been secretly working on it for 2 years. So,
Right.
but that's about all we know.
I'm
watching
curious to see what it is.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
want to see what they think is like a big different thing.
Yeah.
Because I would have said a game like Alien Nation is something that sticks to like what they probably think of as their roots
Yeah.
in these arcade type of games, but also building systems around it to flesh it out.
Yeah.
In terms of like, hey, there's meaningful loot here. We've done stuff to make this a larger, more co-op focused game.
There's cool
I would-
co-op stuff
I
in
would
there.
like to see that.
Didn't they have some
So-
like persistent war type stuff? Persistent
Yes.
territory
Yeah.
control.
Yeah,
Like
there
you picked
was
a
some
faction
kinda-
and like you were taking territory from each other.
There's like a
Stuff
weird
like
like
that, or
point of no
something.
return as well. Like
Right.
once you got to a certain point in the game, like you couldn't go back and play earlier levels or
Yeah,
something.
but you'd eventually finish the game, and you'd basically start
sure.
over. You'd roll it and start over on like a higher difficulty or whatever it is.
But
Whatever. That game is not perfect, but that to me
cool.
seems like the blueprint for what they talked about as like no longer making arcade games. So I
Yeah.
wonder if this is just going to be an advancement of that.
I don't know. When I think arcade game from them, I think Resogun.
Yeah,
that kind of
totally.
shooter.
Like yes.
I would love to see like an expanded, Alien Nation.
Mhm.
Is that what it was? Yeah, that'd be neat.
Yeah.
But
Also,
I'm not sure if that's what they mean.
Also, Crow Team has announced Serious Sam 4, which will be at E3.
Okay.
Planet Badass
Okay,
is the subtitle,
all right.
which I'm kind of into.
Hmm.
They describe it as Serious Sam on a brutally bigger scale.
Even more brutal. All right.
So
Serious Sam as a service.
maybe? I don't know.
Think about it.
Oh,
What that could be.
Oh, the S3 project.
Yeah.
I see. Actually, it's up on Steam already. Hang on, let me. just wanna
See if
look.
there's a trailer or whatever. Still blown away that they produced Talos Principle,
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah, right.
that puzzle game.
Yeah, people love that game. I was super impressed by what I played of it.
Mhm.
Featuring the world-renowned signature Serious Sam gameplay on a brutally bigger scale and not a single desert level.
Wow.
Oh, okay.
Wow.
All right.
Yeah.
That's a yes. That's I hate that's all it took for me to go, okay, all right, I guess I'm listening.
Serious Sam's all right.
Yeah.
Also, this
Because
trailer.
up until that point I was like, man, I don't like what is this? Serious Sam, I don't know, man. Like so many different games try to recapture that old style shooter magic in this day and age. Like I feel like they played their jokes in the first game or two in terms of just like this guy's got no head and he is screaming. Like that.
Also, this is the most shameless Born to Be Wild knockoff I have ever heard.
All right, that's a guy with no head and 2 bombs for hands running and screaming. So that's Serious Sam on a motorcycle. What if it's just Cause, but Serious Sam?
Oh,
What if that game?
oh boy.
Okay.
I think this is. I don't know. Now there are like 1,000 screaming no head guys running at him.
They did that though
In a
Like,
forest,
There were a
not a
lot of
desert.
There's been plenty of screaming headless
Yeah, I
men
don't know.
screaming.
If it's just, hey, we have more enemies now than last time, I don't know.
Right.
I mean, that's cool, I guess. But I hope they've got some
But
other
what
idea.
if it's a weird fucking like big open world game that's still Serious Sam? What if it's like full of weird side quests? You have to take over outposts from headless
Okay.
screaming men.
Okay.
What
All right.
Like what if they just lean into like that end of the shooter pool,
Okay.
but it's still Serious Sam?
All right.
Would that actually work?
Yes. Without having
Yeah,
seen it, without
yeah.
anyone having made it
It's-
yet, I'm going to say
like,
yes.
Like maybe.
So it's Far
I need
Cry?
them to constantly be yelling though.
Right. Yeah. Like yes. What if it's like a Far Cry game but Serious Sam?
Okay. Sure.
Like does that
I would play that.
a stealth game where as soon as you alert one of the headless men, they all start screaming?
From the entire map.
They all converge on your location.
right.
That sounds okay.
You had me at Just Cause and Serious Sam.
Yeah,
That
yeah. Or
sounds
like
pretty good.
what if you weird vehicle antics?
Yeah. Why not?
None of that trailer necessarily evokes that fully, but
Right.
for some reason that's what I took away from that wide open area full of
Yeah.
screaming bomb hand headless.
I hope it's got some hook. I hope there's some idea.
bombs
Yeah,
here.
it's like you want it to be a hook that's like more than just like check it out. It's this next Serious Sam
Right,
game because I
right.
don't think that has not worked on me since the first or second Serious Sam game.
Like those games are cool, but they're pretty one note.
Sure, and that note is It's like it's a good
It's
note.
been a pretty reliable note
Yeah.
for a while, but yeah, I'd like to see a little bit more. I think, yes, Devolver is putting that out, so that will probably be in their parking lot.
Nice.
Lastly, just a little note that StarCraft 2, remember that game?
Mm-hmm.
I've heard of it.
Remember when they announced that it was going to have a paid, like, custom map
Yes.
storefront? They're finally launching that.
Whoa!
Remember that?
Good for them.
7 years later.
It was 9 years.
Oh, did they actually
Yes.
announce that stuff back at
Wow.
launch? I thought that
2009.
was like a later.
They announced that they would have paid maps
Okay.
prior to the original StarCraft 2 release.
Okay.
How much?
It is finally coming. There
Dota
are
3.
okay.
How much is it?
Actually, I'm not clear if it launched already or if it's about to launch.
Either way, I'm.
And this
all
is
a tingle.
curated, so it's not
believe that's
just
the
it's
case,
not
yeah.
just people throwing up whatever. It sounds like that Blizzard will have a hand in going like, this is good enough for us to put in our paid store or
Yes.
something along those lines.
Yes.
Do they have any examples of what is going to be there? Because it's hard for me to envision that being a thing.
There are
that,
2.
that people will be.
There are 2 maps ready right now that are both $4.99. One is called Arcstar.
Okay. Is it a different mode or is it just a map? Is it a map to play StarCraft 2 on? Or...
Arcstar is a turn-based RPG
Okay.
focused on the Protoss.
Okay.
The other one is called
Metal Hawk.
Wait. Okay. The other one is called Direct Strike, which is an upgrade of popular tug of war mod Desert Strike HOTS.
Oh yeah.
I like Desert Strike, all right.
Return to the Gulf.
I don't know if that's a typo. I don't know if they meant Direct Strike HOTS, but it says Desert Strike right here in the story. So
Really taking aim at EA.
apparently there are free versions of these maps out there, but if you buy them, you get more modes and stuff.
Okay.
Some cosmetics. Anybody?
Yeah.
I love it.
Okay, it is in the next patch.
Let's put the
that
stuff
is-
on my head.
It is in the next patch that this stuff is launching, so it's not out yet. But
Turn-based RPG starring the Protoss sounds like a cool thing.
that sounds neat.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would actually be kind of curious to see that.
Eh.
They're doing kind of what you would expect. The cut of the sales go to the people who made the maps.
Mm-hmm.
The other cut goes to Blizzard. I'm guessing. Let's just assume.
Yeah. Seems safe.
9 years in the works.
Dang.
And they have 2. Okay.
They're really good maps.
I
They've
would hope
really
so.
been curating these maps.
It's really weird to even talk about them as maps, considering these are like different game modes.
yeah,
and all
kind
this
of.
other
But
stuff,
that's the jargon.
I know,
right?
yeah,
Like, they've
but
just
when
called
you-
them custom maps forever.
But when you
so-
talk about it as a custom map, it's just like, okay, like one more place to play StarCraft on. I'm already not playing StarCraft on any of the maps you've made so far, so
yeah.
Yeah. What's your interest level, Brad?
I would check it out.
Sure.
I'm kind of curious. I haven't checked in on StarCraft 2 in quite a while. Sounds like people are pretty into it, though. Like, they've added a ton
yeah.
of stuff with the co-op, and
Hmm.
sounds like the pro scene is kind of
Still going, huh?
moving right along. So,
Man.
yeah, I think they're doing okay. Okay. Let's read some emails.
All right.
yeah.
Bombcast@giantbomb.com.
What's that?
That's an email address.
Got it.
It's you type that in, like you route communications through the internet.
Okay. scase@aol.com.
The name server resolves your IP, and then
Mm-hmm.
What do I write? SNK to tell them I really want that little tiny MVS cabinet.
Can
Can I write them here?
I think they know.
They know?
I think they heard.
I'm sure they're
I
listening.
think that they are answering your prayers.
Yay.
All right. Mark from Philadelphia. So,
Yes.
let's see. I don't mean to mislead you. I'm sorry. I omitted the first line. Listen to my story.
Yeah.
I don't mean to mislead you. I would not necessarily be the person to come to mind when you say devout Christian. I consider myself to be an open-minded and progressive person.
Fair weather follower.
Christianity has been a big part of my life and continues to be,
Okay.
though maybe not in the way my mother wished. My story of getting into nunchaku began when in college.
Yeah.
Is it actually spelled nunchaku?
That's what he says.
Yes.
My story of getting into nunchaku began when in college, a Christian university, a few of my friends and I all had breakups with our girlfriends and decided to get into some weird shit.
The chucks.
First, we started a band, and then somehow found ourselves in an army surplus store buying various useless weapons.
Yep.
This sounds worse and worse as I type it out.
Nope.
No,
Sounds better and better.
I think
all
I've
my
gone through
breakups
this.
go.
Yeah.
We've all had a
the
stage.
breakup into like martial weapons.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Let's get katanas. Let's go to the other end of this scale for a little while until it balances out.
I found a pair of police use nunchaku. That's in all caps. And bought them.
Good.
They were black and had a rope instead of chain connecting them.
Mm-hmm.
I watched YouTube videos to learn how to use them and mostly ended up giving myself bruises all over my body,
That's
but
how it works.
I actually got okay at using them.
I had an uncle who made some in shop class.
Oh, yeah?
When he was in
Badass.
junior
Did you use
high.
rope or chain?
Chain.
Did you just nail in the chain?
I don't know.
Probably.
I forget now. It was a long time ago.
Uh,
I hurt myself numerous times.
Haven't we all?
It may disappoint you to hear, but no scriptural mandate or burning bush prompted me to learn this ancient martial art.
Really? I don't believe that.
But when you read that email last week, I laughed a lot and thought I'd send this in. P.S. Jeff, for my friends and I, our favorite moments in the Bombcast happen when your wife semi-annually replays Final Fantasy X, which gets some good reactions from you. How is her current playthrough? Has she gotten to the underwater cuddling scene yet?
She's fallen off a little bit.
Okay.
She played a bunch of it. Trying to think. She got to the. I remember Seymour. No, like, I don't think she's quite gotten to the Seymour fight yet.
So
but
she
was on
doesn't,
the
like-
road to it.
Aren't there
Pick
like
a date.
four? I thought there were like four Seymour fights.
Like the Seymour fight.
Okay.
though, I think.
So does she play it like all year long, and it's just a continuous?
No,
Okay.
it's she'll kind of wrap it up, but I don't know. She'll sometimes she'll move away from it for a while, and sometimes she'll pick that playthrough up, or sometimes she'll be away from it long enough to start fresh.
Right.
It
Still on
just
the
kind of
PS2
happens.
or like one of the recent ones?
More recently, it's been the PS3 version because that's
Okay.
just what's been hooked up in the bedroom.
Okay.
But at this point, I do own it on PS4
Yeah.
as well.
Take care of your girl, man.
Have
Have her play the PS4 version.
it's
Do you love her or not?
she last year she played the PS4 version, so now
Oh.
she's playing the PS3 version. And, maybe we'll
Oh,
get back
okay.
to PS2 eventually and see how it goes.
It's on the Vita as well.
Yeah, no, I
Just
don't
take
think she's
take
gonna
it
play
anywhere.
it on the Vita. She's not into the Vita. No, I don't know. She was just remarking recently that like summer's coming. It's almost Sudeki season, so I believe it's going to be back onto the Xbox for a little bit here.
The leaves are changing. It's time to play Sudeki.
Yeah, which if she makes me do the escort mission in Sudeki, I don't want to do it.
You promised.
I will do it, but I don't want to do it.
Sickness and in Sudeki.
Indeed.
Sudeki's not bad. Sudeki's
Yeah.
more interesting. Like having now seen the vast majority of Sudeki be played and played small bad parts of it myself. There's a lot going on in that game that
Yeah.
it's easy to forget. Anyway, that's our Sudeki minute.
All right.
Tune back in around E3 time for the next one.
Anthony from Conroe, Texas. Metal Gear Survive has dropped into the $15 range on Amazon. Is this game worth $15 as a curiosity, or should I just save that $15 and get a stuffed pizza from Papa Murphy's instead?
Always stuffed pizza from Papa Murphy's.
What is this stuff?
The meat lover. Oh, so it's like a big ass calzone. You know,
Oh.
a calzone is like half a pizza. No, this
Oh,
is
is
the
it a full
whole
Okay,
thing.
so it's like a
Jeez.
two
Crust on
calzones.
top and bottom,
That's
fucked up.
terrifying.
and it's
Fucked up.
got all the meat and cheese and sauce in the
so
middle.
good.
Get the meat lovers one.
That sounds rough.
Yo, it's a good deal because it'll feed you for like 2 days.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
And is that like $15 or what are
Yeah.
we talking?
Yeah, 15 I think to like 18 for like the
Yeah,
family
that
size.
sounds like a lot of food.
Oh, I'm having one of those tonight.
Okay.
I'd look at it this
Oh.
way. Metal Gear Survive probably will only get cheaper as time goes on.
It's true.
That pizza probably will always be that amount of money.
That's true.
And will always be delicious.
I don't know. Take and bake's not my thing.
I could see.
Sorry.
I could totally see Metal Gear Survive being like a $6 to $8 PSN flash sale type joint.
That thing is destined to be free with gold or
yes,
whatever
yes,
one
absolutely.
of these
That would be
days.
an insult.
I mean, MGS5 got there. Like,
But that's a
way
good
better
game.
games. Way better games and way worse games than Metal Gear Survive have been offered. Right now, Qbert Rebooted is available
And-
for PS4, PS3, and Vita.
It's not a great Qbert.
No, it is not.
I played some of that. I had a Qbert Jones last week.
Their reworking of Qbert in a modern polygonal way just looks gross. He's just like these droopy notes. He just looks like shit.
Yeah.
They made Qbert look like shit.
The music is really bad.
Yeah.
But we got all those avatars from it.
Yeah.
Mhm.
You can
Also,
buy
I
a shit ton
played.
of Qbert avatars.
They also have the original arcade Qbert in there.
That is the one saving grace of it.
I played enough of that to get my fill of Qbert pretty quickly.
There you
And I
go.
was like,
Yeah.
all right,
Nailed it.
Thanks,
See?
PlayStation Plus. I feel like there is $15 of enjoyment to be had in Metal Gear Survive, but I don't know.
You could do worse.
Yeah.
I could see going that way.
Yeah.
Unless you want to wait until it's 10.
If you really are interested in it and want to play it, that's probably a fair price.
Pick up a used copy for. Well, I don't know what the. Yeah.
I don't know.
Who knows?
Man, that dropped quickly, huh?
Everyone is talking about Metal Gear Survive.
Isaac from Akron. He doesn't say Ohio, but shall we just assume?
It's some other Akron.
Missouri.
I finally broke and got a smartphone. What games should
Way
I
to go.
Yeah.
Welcome.
It's a
Welcome to
bold-
the surveillance state.
It's a bold lifestyle choice.
We know where you are now. Akron, as it turns out.
What games should I put on this thing? I would greatly prefer to pay once and never be pestered for more money or asked to watch an ad.
I don't know. What kind of phone do you get?
Yeah.
He doesn't say.
Then-
I don't know.
then what the fuck
Let's just,
do I know?
Let's just assume that
No, I don't know.
most games are out on both at this point.
I feel like if you were going to get an iPhone, you would probably say iPhone, and this is probably an Android device. Or maybe it's a Windows phone. Who can say?
I don't think they even still make those.
No.
Yes.
I don't know.
Yes.
I have no idea.
Get how to build a boat.
Oh yeah,
That's a good
yeah.
game.
I guess if you have never had one, yes, how to build a boat.
Yeah, I guess
is a
so,
great,
actually,
is a
yeah.
great
And
choice.
that's also a pay once and don't worry
Yeah.
about ads, fucking anything.
Assuming it's still available and didn't get like
right.
played out in some corner like yeah, it's not 64-bit. You can't get it anymore.
I just Googled Windows Phone, and the first headline that came up is Windows Phone is dead for realsies as Microsoft discontinues Skype and Yammer apps.
See ya, Windows
No,
Phone.
Yammer. I was in a Goodwill
So Windows
over the
Phone.
weekend, and I saw a tote bag that had a fucking Yammer logo on it.
Wow.
Nice.
We used a lot of Yammer
we had our
Back in the
time
day.
with Yammer.
back in the day. There was
Yeah.
quite a bit of yammering going on.
That's not the Salesforce owned one, is it?
No, I assume Microsoft owns it because that was
Right,
the
right,
point
right,
of the
right.
story
Yeah,
is
the
like, hey,
point of the
Microsoft
story.
is killing their own apps on Windows Phone.
What was the Salesforce one that we used at the end of Whiskey Media? Because I still
Oh.
have that installed and it still works.
Wow.
So like you can open it up and talk to no one, which I've been doing off and on every year or so when I see I still have installed. So
I forget what
a
that one was
select
called.
number of people that could open that thing up, and
That was kind of like if Slack was a message board,
yeah,
and then people realized they like chatting and not posting.
sure.
Posting is bad.
Yes, it went from like the Twitter metaphor back to like the IRC
Yes.
metaphor.
Oh,
I mean, I think doesn't Slack actually just run,
Maybe
on
I don't
IRC?
know. Yeah.
or maybe that's Discord I'm thinking about. Let's see. Chris from Ottawa.
Ohio.
Giant Bomb has always been either ahead of or right on the curve when it comes to coverage of video games.
Right on the
First
curve.
it was writing, then videos, and now live streaming. What do you guys think will be the next big thing when it comes to coverage of video games?
Just real sensual massages. You
yeah,
know,
in
We're gonna-
VR.
We're going to open up some parlors around around just this area, this
Yeah.
time zone, and kind of expand from there.
Right.
And you're going to come in and be like, "What's the latest in video games?" And you're going to receive a hands-on experience that is going to convey to you the power of video games directly
Tell you
right
about
into your back,
Kratos.
the backs of your legs. Someone's really going to get in there, just like they're going to be dropping the elbow on your back and
Yep.
doing like that sort of stuff.
Mhm.
You're really going to understand.
If that's what you're into, maybe like a casual approach. We'll light some candles.
Sure.
Burn some incense.
Yeah, we've been looking into bringing back Smell-O-Vision.
Mhm.
We're gonna bring back Shrink Wrap Tuesday.
Yeah.
We'll really give you that new box experience.
Yeah, you're going to open that up and be like, it's like a chocolate, but also like a pine.
A little bit.
It's weird.
A little bit.
Yeah,
That's where things are going.
that's where things are headed.
There you know.
It's only natural.
I don't think anybody knows where things are headed until they head there, right?
Right. Yeah. I mean, there's
knows?
certainly ideas about where to go from here and all that sort of stuff, but that stuff is, we're formulating.
Giant Bomb Infinite.
Mm-hmm.
That's where we're going.
Stuart from Birmingham in the UK.
Infinite massage.
Oh.
Is Radical Heights the BMX XXX sequel we all deserve?
The hell is that game?
What have we done? We probably deserve this.
That's the Battle Royale game with bikes
From who?
from Boss Key, developers of Lawbreakers.
See ya.
It's all right.
Yeah.
It's better than you'd think.
But I don't know. It sounded like that maybe they were adding some tricks. I've not been following their patch notes.
Okay.
But,
Yeah, I haven't either. I'd see just enough people talking about still playing it that I wonder if it's maybe got an
I
audience.
feel like over the last week or so, all that dried up.
Maybe.
But maybe that's
Yeah.
just who I'm following or something like that. But I feel like all Radical Heights chatter just went like back into zero.
Yeah.
Like people had their moment with it, and they were like, well, there's something to this.
Mhm.
And yeah,
You can still get concurrent player data from Steam, right? It's just the library
I
stuff
believe
that
that's
they,
the case.
that they started
I think
hiding.
Steam Charts is still available,
Okay.
even if Steam Spy is not.
I could look that up right now. Talking
Things
about
popping up a lot. What's the chewed level turned up to?
90,
Okay.
about 90, 91, 1992 maybe.
24-hour peak, 2,200 players.
Yeah.
All right.
So not nothing, but
The 2 just turned up into it plays You're the Best
All right.
when you win.
Does it really?
Really.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, this email comes in from ignore my name and my email address. Don't narc me, please.
Jan.
Subject line, domain names are a government sham.
All right. Yes.
Knew that.
Did you know that all of the generic top-level domains, or GTLDs, like .bike or .pizza or .games, are sold by the government to the highest bidder?
Son of a bitch.
Yes, it is.
I worked for a time at a domain registry, which owns around 2/3 of these domains, and it essentially was a money printing operation.
Wow.
Once the upfront cost of purchasing the contract from the government was paid, some soothsayer they kept locked in the back would give us a baseline list price for each GTLD we owned, and the money would just start rolling in. Go look at domains with .car or .rich as the GTLD. They're super expensive, $2,000 plus, which goes straight into the domain registry's pocket.
Yep.
Billing and whois are the only operating expenses. Domain name registrars like GoDaddy get a small portion of that money, but the vast majority goes to some shadowy corporation which sits on a near infinite trove of domain names like some sort of internet smaug. Also, did you ever try to go get some domain on a relatively unknown GTLD and it comes up as taken?
Yes.
Well, that's because these registries will give sweetheart deals to, quote, investors
Mm-hmm.
or squatters and sell large swaths of domains at wholesale prices. Registries also get first pick for any domain name they own and can squat any good ones they want.
Yep.
Fight the good fight. Don't overpay for domains and don't buy from squatters.
Never.
Never would.
Yeah, because there was a truck driving around E3 last year advertising, I believe it's .game.
Sure.
And I looked that up because I was like, that'd be fun to have a shitty .game domain. They were all fucking hyper expensive.
Really?
Yeah, I believe it.
Because whoever bought .game from the government and owns that entire namespace
Wow.
is able to
That's
charge
such
whatever the fuck they
crap.
want for it. Amazon bought one. Did they buy .amazon? I forget what it was. But there's like, like companies are able to say like, oh, well, we want to own this whole swath of thing for our business. They don't sell them to end users. It's just like they control the entirety of a namespace.
Right.
That's so frustrating.
For that reason. So it's that stuff's only gonna be. There's only gonna be more and more of those.
Corporations, I
kinda-
can see it, but with like a generic term, man.
Yeah, it's really frustrating. Like, I kind of want a domain name for the first time ever, and like, I finally came around on it not being one of the original 7,
Yeah.
which felt very wrong for a very long time.
Mm-hmm.
What was
But
it?
finally, what's that?
What was it?
Oh, I don't have one.
Oh,
That's,
okay.
that's
What did
that's-
you want?
That's
though?
where I'm getting
It's
to.
not gonna say it out loud.
Okay.
Well-
It'll get stolen.
On top of that, I couldn't find anything that was available that I wanted. I was looking at like .pro and .zone and like some of those. Like, you want something short and one syllable because
Yep.
it's easy to say.
Uh-huh.
Yep.
Fucking everything is taken,
Yeah.
even on those.
Yeah.
Like, the wisdom was always like, yeah, you're not going to get a .com
But maybe you can
at
get
this point, but
this,
you
or-
might
yeah.
be able to get a .pro or something. But nope.
Right.
It's really frustrating.
I was surprised that I was able to get Jeff.zone.
Mhm.
Because it
Like
seemed like the sort of thing that would have definitely been taken.
I assume you got in early on that one.
I guess, or if not taken, then squatted on by the
Yeah.
registrar
Yeah.
and resold at a higher value because they know some idiot will pay it.
Yeah.
And so I always wonder, like, if it's going to come around for renewal and suddenly it's going to be like, this one was $3,000 now, or something stupid like
It
that.
shouldn't if you own it now. So
Yeah, but who's to
No,
say the
he's-
company that owns that whole
leasing
thing?
it.
Yeah, right. That they don't come back and say like, oh, by the way, the price went up.
really,
Like, is there anything stopping one of these companies that buys this stuff from holding the domains hostage and saying like, oh, you established a web presence on our domain thing and it's doing really well. Sure would be a shame if we went and resold your domain to someone else. Like, is there
Yeah,
any
it's fucking-
governing body, Internic or whoever I don't know who runs all. Is
I-
there someone
is it
sitting in
ICANN?
the, is ICANN or somebody sitting in the middle of all this and able to say, like, you can't fucking do that.
I think there is.
I would assume so.
You would
but
like to think so.
Who can say?
I feel like this entire situation is just emblematic of everything that has gone wrong with the internet.
Oh, yeah, I guess.
It's time for a new one.
But, we needed new area codes at one point because so many people had phones.
Yeah.
Like, it only makes sense that you're going to add more.
No, I mean
top-level
just the way they
domains
are being dominated
But yeah,
by
sure.
by invisible business interests.
Little bastards.
Visit me at Invisible Business Interests.
Like there's a ton of
.xxx.
there's a ton of very long domains out there, but who wants that?
Right.
You know?
And .xxx is another expensive one
Yeah, of course.
because they figure, like, oh, you're in the porn business, you can pay it.
Yep. You can't bank,
Yeah.
but you can give us your money.
Right.
Johnny from St. Louis. In the lead up to God of War's release on the 20th, it's been hard not to notice a trend. Star Wars Battlefront 2 started a limited time event on the 18th, patterned off of Halo's Infection mode with Ewoks as zombies. Gears of War 4 started an event where you can earn Ice-T's character Griffin if you get 750 kills in any mode in 10 days on the 20th. Fortnite drastically improved and reintroduced their 50 versus 50 mode starting on the 19th. Monster Hunter started their first almost raid-like boss fight starting on the 19th, lasting for only 2 weeks. Is this a coincidence, or is this the way we can expect games as a service to start combating against traditional play once and move on AAA releases? I was excited to start God of War on the 20th, but I may actually wait and grind out some of these events instead because I enjoy all of these games and don't want to miss those events.
I don't know that too many of them would be that deliberate. And also, like God of War is a big game, but it's only on one platform.
Yeah.
Like Fortnite doesn't give a shit about what's happening with God of War in a grand sense, They're like, whatever.
Those are all multiplayer games,
Right.
Yeah, those aren't quite the same thing. I could see, like, the previous big multiplayer game made me counter-programming the next big multiplayer game.
Right.
Like the next big shooter
Yeah.
or something.
That would make some sense.
Like, Battlefield always comes out first, right? Well, they moved Call of Duty up this
Call
year.
of Duty has moved up, so it's...
which actually, come to think of it, might have something to do with that campaign not getting finished. But
Yeah, maybe, yeah. Like, hey, we could totally ship this early.
like you could see those shooters in the exact same category starting to maybe take shots at each other.
Yeah,
like
games that are actual competitors and are kind of one-to-one platform-wise in terms of where they appear and stuff like that. Like, I think there's a case to be made for why you would do something like that. I think some people looked at some of the timing around, which it was like a weird thing because like the mind share or whatever was already so leaning so hard in Blizzard's direction. But back around Overwatch's like last beta phase, it coincided with the launch of Battleborn.
Oh, sure, yeah.
And you saw some people going like, oh, are they counter-programming Battleborn?
Right.
To which I would say, even then, it was pretty plainly obvious no one would need to counter-program Battleborn. It doesn't mean they didn't do it, but also that's not something they would have needed to do. Like their last beta, I think, was it like the last Overwatch beta coincided with the Battleborn launch, I think is what it was.
Sounds about right.
Yeah. So yeah, I don't think the odds of that happening are zero, but in the cases he's citing, and specifically like up against God of War, I don't see it. Like that's not God of War is a game you finish and then go back to your game of choice.
Yep.
It's not a game that threatens to steal away a player permanently. So these kind of big multiplayer games, the Battle Royale games of the world and that sort of multiplayer, like that doesn't make sense to me.
No.
If anything, I'm just happy to see, continued support after launch with games such as this.
The Gears of War thing, I did hear something, like I hadn't heard the specifics of it, but I know like, oh, Ice-T's out there talking about Gears of War. What are they doing? What are they up to? And then I forgot all about it. That seems weird.
What, that they're still doing it?
Yeah,
like
but I guess
is...
that's the result of you have a studio that is the Gears of War studio, right?
Yeah. That game is a year and a half old now.
Yeah, the idea that anyone would be doing anything for the existing Gears of War right now seems weird to me. Like that game had its life cycle. It had its.
There's probably still people playing it.
Yeah, but like that's. If you think about, like, they probably completed whatever. Like map rollout they were going to do, and they're like, okay, cool, yeah, there it is. There's Gears of War 4. We hope you keep playing it because we liked it.
Maybe they saw a better return on the microtransactions than they expected.
Yeah.
Maybe the coalition has just like a live team now.
Yeah, but I feel like the content would be for a Gears of War game would be, hey, we've decided to do more maps, and and not like here's Ice-T's character.
Well, those are
That
free.
doesn't- Right.
in-
They made them
in
free this
4,
time, so maybe
so.
that's yeah.
Let's see. Ben in Cincinnati with the confirmation of Black Ops 4 not having a. He uses that dumbass Roman numeral. Just gonna have to get used to that. With the confirmation of Black
That's not
Ops,
even the real name of the game. Like when they send out press releases for it, they just use the like a 4.
like just an Arabic.
The
font, really?
the 4 hash that's a logo thing only.
That's just a logo.
They're
not
Activision
spelling it
does
that
not
way.
type it out that
Okay,
way.
okay, that makes me respect them a little more.
Yeah.
With the confirmation of Black Ops 4 not having a single-player campaign so they can focus all their resources on the multiplayer, would you say even calling this game Black Ops 4 is incredibly misleading and bad marketing? If the game has no real connection to the previous games in that series, why not name it something to give consumers a better idea of what they are getting, like with Gran Turismo Sport? No matter how well they try to message it, I think there are going to be a lot of angry and disappointed consumers when they take home this game only to discover there is no single-player campaign.
I don't think it'll be a problem, and I think part of that is because of just the player base's wants and needs out of a Call of Duty game, but also I think the Black Ops 3 campaign being so far removed from 1 and 2, at some point they can, like the hallmarks of what you consider Black Ops, I think are murkier than you might think. So no, I don't think that's a real issue. If anything, it's them taking what has become the most popular Call of Duty sub-brand and saying, hey, the team that made those games is making another game, period. And that will raise interest in a way that a new name wouldn't. If anything, it'd be nice to see, like, if they really want to go all the way in on the multiplayer stuff, and this is probably now a few years off. Like, I feel like this is the first step, right? This is opening a seal towards infinite Call of Duty, towards just a platform of Call of Duty.
Sure.
This is like the first step where they're like, okay, we're stepping away from single player. Then you go a few years that way or something, maybe, depending on how it goes. And then you either say the campaign is back, or you say, actually, now it's all microtransaction based. Now download the Call of Duty platform, download Call of Duty Black Ops 4 ever, and just play that. And, we'll serve you up some maps, and please buy this weed hat.
$60 a year base subscription.
Yeah.
Tiers on top of that, maybe.
Sure.
Who knows? Yeah.
Advanced stat tracking, bring back some of the hallmarks of Call of Duty Elite.
Yeah.
Not that those were like great things for all players, but if you're building out a service, every checkbox helps.
Sure.
So I wonder what this does to them 3 or 4 years from now.
Assuming it's still going. I don't know.
It's definitely still going in 3 or 4 years.
I guess so. I feel like I just keep waiting for the bottom to fall out of that thing.
You will.
It hasn't yet.
It is not. And even if people are less interested in it year to year, it's the same way. I bet Call of Duty is close to a point now. Well, no. I was going to say it's close to a point where Madden is, where EA probably knows the week 1 sales of Madden right now.
Sure.
Because they have enough data year to year. They know they're making a fucking football game.
Yeah.
They know what
And Madden is really not the event that it used to be when it comes out.
Exactly.
But it's just a steady performer.
Yeah.
Like it's just, you know you're going to sell.
And I would say that Call of Duty is in that same boat where it is not the same event it used to be.
Yeah. Like they're not sending out press releases with like celebrity photos from the red carpet at the Madden launch event anymore.
Right.
And it still sells just fine.
Call of Duty is a huge mainstream sensation.
Yeah.
The people that play it are not on the internet talking about. There are plenty of people talking about Call of Duty on the internet, but there is still a lot of people who were just like, "Oh, new Call of Duty's out. I'm gonna go get it and take it home and play it." And I don't need to broadcast that fact on the internet. Like I'm just doing it. The same way there's a bunch of people who just like Madden.
Yeah.
And for them, it hasn't bottomed out.
Sure.
They're probably still there for it.
I mean, the temptation is to look at the Guitar Hero, Tony Hawk stuff. It's like, oh, they drove that stuff into the ground and it died.
But I think the thing you look at is with Call of Duty isn't necessarily that it's over. You look at the signs of what does it look like as a series fades into the background.
Yeah.
And that's the stuff that started. That's the stuff where you're like, just like Madden, it comes out, there's a huge base of players that care about it, but it's not the event it used to be. It's not the event that Madden used to be. And that's step 1 in that process.
Sure.
We'll get to step 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And as they move down that road, that's when you'll start to see them make bigger tweaks.
Right. Kind of like Madden has started trying stuff. Like they're bigger on a story mode now than they used to be.
Yeah.
So,
But I wonder if does that move the needle for them? I bet it doesn't. I bet Madden still sells what Madden sells, and they're able to take these attempts, and they're probably able to justify to the people hanging on to budgets, going like, well, we want to take a big swing in this story mode thing because it's worked out well for this basketball franchise. We think that we can do something similar in football. We think that this will bring X number of new players to the franchise, which that's the problem you're trying to solve with Madden. Like from a business perspective, is how do you get new players through the door to try to buck that trend of like, we know within 100,000 units or 50,000, whatever it is, EA is smart enough with the stats and figures I bet they know right now with a amount of certainty what they will sell week 1 with Madden.
Yeah.
And so all the features become about, like the features probably all have to be justified in the context of like, what do you think this is going to do to the bottom line? Is this going to bring new people in? Is this going to bring in an audience that left? Is it going to bring back the churning audience? Like
that's
that
the
sort
thing.
of stuff.
Maybe they have attrition to worry about.
Yeah.
They want to make sure they're not bleeding players.
Or they're bringing in a set number of players, but losing just as many, who are falling away from it year in. And I bet Call of Duty's in the same boat. But World War II actually did significantly better than Infinite Warfare, which kind of throws that whole thing off. It's tempting to look at it and go like, this is a steady slope, but the presence of World War II and now this thing they're doing this year, like throws a lot of that stuff into disarray.
Yeah.
So it's hard to say where it's at. Which is exciting. I don't know. Like I want to see what the fuck they'll do just from like a business perspective and how they'll present it, and
totally.
like how will they justify to the player base, or will they have to, because are they confident enough in like, hey, actually we have the data, no one fucking plays the campaign. Like people will be bummed out about it in a symbolic way because they'll feel like they're getting less. So to combat that, we have to make sure we have this announcement sewn the fuck up.
Right.
And I think they're smart enough to fucking know that.
I wonder how mad they were when this leaked. I wonder if they had like
it's a messaging.
They must
thing,
have a
right?
massive amount of planning around how to present this stuff.
But also, I don't feel like this leak has necessarily been end of the world type shit.
Not really.
It hasn't. There've been people going like, well, I guess I'm not going to get it, but like I feel like those people would have felt that way anyway.
Well, I just mean more from the standpoint of they probably thought very long and hard about how to present this, and then that control was taken away from them, which they may not be happy about. But yeah, it's not like I don't see people rioting over it.
No.
Let's see. Brad from Huddersfield, UK. After your recent
in Ohio,
discussion,
I believe.
Yes, exactly. After the United Kingdom of Ohio.
Yeah.
After
Ohio versus everything. It's
yes, right. After your recent discussion about the PS5 rumors, I had a thought about where gaming eventually ends up in the future. I've heard that 8K resolution is the absolute highest noticeable improvement the human eye can see. When we reach that as a standard and graphics eventually plateau. Where do you see gaming going after this? In other words, where does the additional horsepower of future consoles go? Do we get better animations, or does every world have a Skyrim level of detail with regards to the objects that populate it?
Those items still take time to make. It doesn't matter what the resolution is. There's still to fill out a world the size of Skyrim with incredible detail probably takes a large team.
Probably.
A long time.
The additional processing power starts to give you things like AI.
Yeah, AI is the big one for me.
Yeah.
Seeing like interesting developments there, and also like materials simulation, like games with generalized models for like that interview we did with Jeff Fielder during GDC talking about Underworld Ascendant.
That's available
Sounds
in the
like
Giant Bomb Presents feed now if you want to listen to
that.
it.
And also they put out a trailer recently, so you can kind of see some of the stuff he talked about
Yeah.
in that. But like that is a sort of puzzle-ish RPG where things are flammable, things are sticky, things have friction. Like it's a really, they make it sound like just a physics play box, basically.
Awesome.
And you solve puzzles with all these magic spells and things,
Yeah. Set something on fire and it burns this and does this.
Yeah.
Like you might find solutions that they haven't thought of.
Right.
Because it's
like
very systems driven.
I feel like that is like a massively untapped area of game design that like with more like raw CPU power to throw at stuff to simulate things like could be absolutely fascinating. But,
all right. And what about this? 200 people drop out of an airplane. Just going to put that out there.
I don't know if we're ready for that.
Yeah.
The human eye can only perceive so many parachutes.
Yeah. I think the future of gaming is still has the potential to veer off in so many different directions because, you look at if you look at games across the board and discount team size and budget size and price and all that sort of stuff and just kind of flatten it out a little bit and look at it, like the vast majority of games don't necessarily tap the upper reaches of our current platform's potential. Like, you know, sort of Ditto looks awesome and it's an artistic feat. You know, not to say there's no technical chops there at all or anything like that, but you look at it and go like, yeah, this could run on a Switch and look just as good. This could run on this, you know, like it's not topping out. You don't need a PlayStation 4 Pro to experience the magic of this game.
Yeah.
Necessarily. So it's if anything, I think the increased horsepower will drive resolution up to a point.
Yeah.
And if let's assume that all of this is true and assume that 8K is as good as it ever gets, I have my doubts. Someone will eventually go like, yeah, but what about 10K? You know, like it's not going to stop the numbers from getting higher. But if we get to a point where suddenly like we've got graphics power out the ass and graphics power to spare, you know, all that does is it means that developers don't have to spend as much time optimizing to maintain a frame rate. You know, if they're just like, oh, well, we can just throw all this in and it still runs good.
Sure.
Because we're not taxing this as much as it could be.
Right.
Which then theoretically frees up more time for, stuff like AI or system simulation or, you know, whatever the game design needs. Which I think that's exciting in a way. If you can kind of free up some of those cycles spent on the technical stuff of just making games look like modern games.
I think a lot of that stuff's going to be relative, though. Like once we get more processing power, you know, we're going to make a push towards 120 frames per second as opposed to
sure,
just the
there's
60
always
or whatever.
That'd be cool.
Because monitors are going to be TVs are going to be 120 hertz.
High refresh. Like they just rolled out the FreeSync support on the Xbox One X. Like the variable refresh. And
that's cool.
High frame rate and all that stuff is getting to be a big deal. Have you guys seen this this game Noita? Have you seen footage of this thing?
Yeah.
You know what
talked about.
I figured you would have been aware of it.
I played that at
It's described as a roguelite. Oh, you've played it?
Yeah.
A roguelite in which every pixel is simulated. Like that's kind of what I'm talking about, where you
right.
see some of the shit going on in this game. Like the way that you can like. Well, this doesn't play very well on an audio podcast.
Yeah, no, but it's like,
go look up the trailer for this thing. But like you're blowing holes in the environment. You're like pouring water on lava to turn it into stone.
Geomod technology in a 2D game.
Well, but more than that, because it's not just destroying stuff. It's like all kinds of physical properties that you can play with to do different things dynamically, like fluid systems. And just like you watch this trailer and it's just look at all the shit. Like he just shot a fireball into a room full of apparently flammable gas and just all the gas exploded.
Yeah.
Like there's so much cool shit going on in this trailer. I feel like, that is
physics-wise.
And that's stuff that, like, you know, you can script, and there are ways to generate those moments without simulating all the systems, but, like, you know, if you can simulate the systems well enough, then you get a lot of that stuff.
Well, the magic is when it's generalized enough for people to come up with their own solutions, instead of the one that you thought of and implemented, like when people can just play with it, and, that stuff is super exciting.
Harder to test.
Yeah.
A lot of broken games in our future.
Yeah.
You know, and then...
thought Skyrim was bad.
Right. And then I think the other thing is, you know, everyone's going to keep chipping away at VR and AR and all that sort of stuff. Like that's not really going anywhere.
Yeah.
Right.
And that's a different resolution fight at that point. That's not 8K. That's not this. It's, you know, it's a whole different thing.
I didn't realize the Vive Pro had come out.
Yeah.
Like, you can just buy it for $800.
Oh, and that's
just for the headset.
You still need controllers.
That's assuming you have all the accessories from the original Vive. If you don't have any of that stuff, I think it's more like $1,200.
Right.
I really want to see what the resolution's like, though.
Nuts.
Did you end up buying a...
Yeah, I'm not ready to talk about that yet because there's so much setup and weird compatibility stuff that I bought a Windows mixed reality headset because they were crazy cheap.
Neat.
Yeah.
But it's a process. Some stuff works better than others in terms of getting Steam things working and so forth. Talk about that next week.
Cool.
But let's read a couple more emails for now.
Yeah.
Walt from Durham.
So,
Titanfall triple? That's the subject line. Do you think we're due for news on another installment of Titanfall at this year's E3? After dumping a few more hours into 2 recently, this got me wondering what that game could even look like. What further iterations would you make on the formula? Mega Titans that Titans get inside of?
Shit.
2 pilots fall in love and kiss through their Titans?
Okay.
A time travel level where you're swapping through 3 periods of time?
Why not?
Also, are you as nervous about what EA's Respawn acquisition could do to this game?
Absolutely.
As I am after the respective debacles of Battlefront and Mordor. If the only thing they shoehorned into this game were microtransactions for celebrity Titan AI announcers, then I could live with that.
Ice Cube is a Titan AI.
That is totally, I would be way into that.
I would pay $2.99, $3.99 for Ice Cube
Not 4.
Titan AI. Not $4.99.
Yeah,
That's
totally.
for only the best themed skins.
I mean, that's basically an announcer pack, I guess, but,
Right.
but better.
yeah.
It's coming out of your robot.
Do you think it's time for a new one?
I would love to see a new Titanfall.
Yeah, 20s. I mean, this holiday would be 2 years since
Yeah.
the last one.
But
so-
remember, like Titanfall 2 shipped alongside Battlefield, and that was not a good way for them to launch a Titanfall game.
Yeah.
Now that Titanfall is a fully owned and operated property of EA, they are maybe slightly more incentivized to like do right by it.
Yeah.
Also, you take into consideration that Battlefront 2 did what it did. If anything, that helps protect future games from some of that shit.
Like the reporting has already been that EA was more spooked than anybody by all that,
of course, yeah.
all that mess. I mean, they should be because they took a
and
bath.
now
but-
what is it? They have 6 weeks, 8 weeks or something to change the loot boxes in FIFA for the Dutch market because
really?
they came out and said that stuff is illegal.
Yeah.
Which I don't know the ramifications of that per se. It's been going around for about the last week. So I don't know. If they intend to launch Battlefield this year,
Hopefully, Respawn has
launch it this
has
year?
an extra year. Yeah, this is totally a Battlefield.
and also Respawn is working on a Star Wars game. So, I assume they're a full 2-team studio at this point now. That it's not like one or the other.
Yeah.
But I don't know when the time will be right for more Titanfall, because you think about it, like you want a good lane for it, and that lane probably means shipping in the first half of the year, and probably not putting it out in Q4 along whatever DICE is doing, because probably after, unless DICE is going to take a back seat and take an extra year with a game,
which they're not. I don't think they could ever get away with that.
right? Then they're always going to have a Q4 shooter out the door,
Right.
whether that's Battlefield this year and Battlefront 3 next year. Maybe they go like, oh, actually, we're going to not do Battlefront 3 next year because that shit is still too hot to touch.
Sure.
And then maybe Q4 of next year would be a time for Titanfall 3
Yeah.
because they've got this sudden gap by that stuff. I don't know. And then you start to ask the questions like, has Titanfall been big enough to make the most of that Q4 slot?
Yeah.
I like to think so. I think it's good enough, and if you show it to people the right way, they will understand why Titanfall is so fucking fantastic. But it's not Battlefield big. So can EA market a Titanfall sequel in a way that gets them the numbers they're used to getting out of a DICE game?
I bet they could if they put the effort into it.
Yeah.
Like if
Titanfall 2 suddenly becoming like $6 or whatever for a little while there definitely got me thinking that's a prime the pump type move in advancement of a new announcement, like get people to remembering Titanfall 2. But I don't know.
Like if they got out there and presented it as, hey, we think this game is good enough that we're putting this out instead of a new Battlefield.
Right.
Or instead of another Battlefront. Like this is our marquee shooter for the year.
I would take a Titanfall 3 over anything else EA can like reasonably be working on.
I think I might be with you.
I would take it over Anthem. I would take it over Dragon Age 4. I would take it over like all of their big guns. I would much rather have a Titanfall 3.
I just hope it's not grody when it comes out.
Would you take it over a new Magic
Lousy
Carpet?
with
I would take it over New Magic Carpet.
God damn it.
Magic Carpet 2 was not that great.
Fuck.
They made one good Magic Carpet game and one that you're like, okay.
My Magic Carpet game was whatever demo was on that CD.
All right. Yeah. The first level. Yeah.
That's all I ever played of.
Level 2 of Magic Carpet was not as good as level 1.
But that first level of Magic Carpet was really something.
Okay. What if you had a mech, a Titan, on a Magic Carpet, and there are all these spheres, and you're flying around?
Okay. All right.
Could you do a level in Titanfall 3's campaign that is an homage
Okay.
to Magic Carpet?
Yes.
Would you do a campaign for Titanfall 3?
Yes.
If you look at what EA has done with the Battlefield campaigns in terms of making them largely tutorial-like in nature, and you look at Call of Duty saying, actually, by circumstance, through whatever hook or by however it ended up behind the scenes, they don't have a campaign. Do you then look at that and assuming that sells, assuming that that's not a black eye at launch, assuming they pull it off?
Oh, but the campaign in 2 was so good.
The campaign in Titanfall 2 was fucking awesome.
But they still don't have the Battlefield style of player base or the size of player base,
Right.
right?
Yeah,
So that
yeah.
I still think they need to ease players into.
Yeah, you're probably right.
All right. This this could be a long email.
Uh-oh. What you got?
We'll just kind of go through it. We'll see what happens.
Okay.
It's from Ryan, entitled "The Super Big, Super Great E3 2018 Games List." With just about 2 months to go until E3, I decided to create myself a list of games that are confirmed to be at the show,
I've been there.
as
I've
well
done this exact thing.
as well as some likely candidates that are not confirmed. I thought you all might like to take a look at it. While this is definitely not everything, I think I have compiled a decent list. Housekeeping. Everything that has a question mark is something that is not confirmed to appear. There are also a couple of games without a question mark that are not confirmed, but are so likely I decided to not add the question mark.
Okay.
Sony. Spider-Man.
Mhm.
He's got Call of Duty listed here because I guess that's what they do. Ghosts of Tsushima. That's Sucker Punch, right?
Yeah. Oh, right. That
Yes.
thing. Yes.
I guess that's
Sorry,
yeah.
I was just looking up. So I got my first email from a publisher saying, "Here's what we're showing at E3," and I wasn't sure if it was something I could talk about. But instead, I'll read the very top of this. The contents of this email are strictly confidential. We ask that you do not share with any external parties.
Okay.
So
There you go.
okay.
Not fair game. So yeah, I guess that's all Sony has confirmed is Spider-Man, Ghosts of Tsushima, and presumably Call of Duty. Other games on the Sony list: Last of Us 2, Death Stranding,
Mm-hmm.
Days Gone,
Mm-hmm.
Medieval Remake.
Oh, right. Yeah.
He's got Shadows Die Twice from Software. Did that name get confirmed?
That was the thing that was in the. It said that in the trailer, at least.
Or are people just taking that to be the name of the game? Is that definitely the...
I don't know.
The
the-
working title.
I took that to be a tagline.
Right.
I don't know. It looks like most of these news stories think it was the name.
Really?
I don't know. That very much just sounded like a teaser sort of
Right.
slogan. We'll see. PSN name change announcement? Yeah.
That seems.
We've talked about that. Yes, they should do that.
Yeah.
They should have some kind of like ridiculous on stage demo of somebody changing their name.
Totally.
Let's see. EA is confirmed to have Anthem, of course. Battlefield, they haven't confirmed, but it seems very, very likely. Perhaps Respawn's Star Wars game.
Mhm.
That
It
would
has,
make
it has
sense.
been a while.
Yeah.
I think wasn't it like before Titanfall 2 that they said they were doing that?
Right.
They would definitely, hopefully, have something to show. Hashtag Skate 4?
No.
No?
I could only dream.
Yeah.
Last entry on the EA list. What if they made a new Burnout?
Yeah. What if?
That would be pretty cool.
I feel like it's more possible than it's ever been.
Yeah, absolutely.
But
for
Now's
sure.
the time.
Yeah.
sure,
If they're going to do it, I feel like now would be the time.
I will say
Fire's
this.
been stoked with that remaster. so-
I say this with no compunction. Also, nothing against the other games that have come out this year, but I've had more fun with Burnout Paradise Remastered than most of the games that came out this year
Right.
so far. Like that game
Yeah.
really holds up.
Mhm.
I feel like Dragon Age 4 has become this very open secret
Yeah,
in that like
I think
but-
they,
but
they
also-
have made reference to it.
well, I was I reading on yesterday on Twitter that like the guy who's like the EP of Anthem basically said he's the executive producer on both Anthem and Dragon Age 4,
Huh?
which says to me that Dragon Age 4 is not a front burner kind of game.
Yeah. Well, the story, I think Kotaku or somebody ran that story recently saying that like every BioWare studio is now on
Right.
Anthem.
Yeah.
So maybe
That's
Dragon-
probably
Dragon Age
how
4
something like that happened, I guess.
got pushed back or something. Ubisoft, The Division 2, The Crew 2, Skull and Bones,
Crew 2 will be very close to being out at
Yeah.
that point. I think
Yeah.
that's a June release, isn't it?
maybe. Skull and Bones.
Right.
He has Just Dance 2049 listed.
Sure.
Sure.
2049.
Beyond Good and Evil 2? Haha, probably not. Yeah, I'm with you. I would be surprised if we saw that.
There's also their weird spaceship
Why not?
game, their physical
Oh, yeah.
spaceship thing.
Right.
Uh,
You would assume that would be there.
yeah. Unless they're killing it. But also, I mean, if we want to speculate alongside this, then you might say that this would be a Watch Dogs year.
Yes, he has Watch Dogs 3 question mark, Splinter Cell question mark.
You don't get that you don't get Michael Ironside in a studio and record a bunch of voice lines and interview stuff with him
Yeah, that was
just to do a free add-on for Wildlands.
That's definitely my guess.
Right?
Yep. But who can say? And yeah, if they are gonna do a kind of leapfrog configuration, Watch Dogs and Assassin's Creed, this would be a Watch Dogs year.
Yeah.
I hope that's what they do. I really hope Assassin's Creed does not go back to an annual franchise.
Right, yeah.
It
I
feels
think
better when they space them out.
Yeah.
Assassins will benefit, Watch Dogs will benefit
Totally.
from...
Totally.
I'm trying to think of what you do with a Watch Dogs 3 at this point.
Yeah, I mean, we've talked about that. I don't know.
It's all Bitcoin.
Like doing San Francisco last time felt like the culmination of that.
You go to a theme park.
Okay.
It's basically Westworld,
Okay.
but with Bitcoins.
Okay.
Somehow.
All right. Yeah. Great. Sold.
Let's see. Wow. Huh. Bethesda hasn't announced anything according to his list, and all he's got on here is Prey DLC / standalone game. I mean, they teased something. They teased that.
Oh.
Like they teased more Prey, but they didn't say. And that very well could be like the Dishonored 2 DLC, which was ended up being a standalone game for like $30.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right.
Elder Scrolls Online update. Yeah, of course they'll have something with that.
Yeah.
Starfield.
Right.
That was totally just rumored, right? That's nothing they've announced.
Was it something that was like, did the name come out of a trademark thing? I forget where the name actually originated.
Wow, here's a story from 8 days ago.
Yeah. This stuff's been kind of picking up
Oh,
again
God.
because E3's coming. You know?
Wow, this must not have passed muster with a lot of the bigger blogs. Here's something on Screen Rant. Rumor Bethesda's space RPG game Starfield releases this fall. I don't know, man.
Yeah, that's...
Like, that did not run anywhere that I would normally look for credible rumors.
don't know enough about the source.
So who knows?
On that one.
But
But how long has it been since Skyrim?
So, I mean, like, that
Or,
timing...
I'm sorry, since Fallout.
That timing, if history is a guide, that timing does not work out because Skyrim was 2011, Fallout 4 was 2015, so that was 4 years,
Yeah.
and now this holiday will only have been 3 years. So, assuming those games are only getting more complicated to make,
And assuming that
it seems
Starfield is something that is definitely coming from
that studio
that
as
studio.
opposed to somebody else. Yeah, it could be a different team. It could be something they've been working on for 8
Yeah.
years or something. Who knows?
Right.
So not this year.
Maybe, but not. Probably not from the team that made Fallout 4. That would be a really fast turnaround for one
Seems
of those
like,
games.
especially if it is suddenly a like a somewhat different thing.
Yeah.
Like that sounds like a lot to take on in that time frame, considering what that team usually, the time that team usually takes to turn something around.
Yes, definitely. Square Enix Shadow of the Tomb Raider, the Crystal Dynamics Avengers game,
Right.
bunch of Final Fantasy 15 DLC,
Sure.
Okay.
Final Fantasy 7 remake. Haha, probably not.
They're at a point
Gotta
with
say
that where they
something about
kind of
it.
have to say something.
They might have a trailer or something. Kingdom Hearts 3 question mark. Yeah, that I do feel like that is a big question mark.
That'll be there.
Probably. I don't know, man. Can't take anything for granted.
I guess
with
not. But
that. New Avalanche Studios game.
I could see it.
Been a while since Mad Max, right?
Yeah.
Well, actually, was Mad Max was before Just Cause 3? I forget. Been a while since Just Cause 3.
Yes.
Also. So who knows? Maybe. Microsoft. Forza Horizon 4.
Yep. I think they said as much with that already.
Crackdown 3.
Okay.
Probably. Halo 6.
Hmm.
Gears 5.
Like,
Who knows?
I have no idea. Like if anything, I guess well, shit. So Gears just had its event. They're still doing work on Gears 4. That sounds like something you do again, like get people talking about Gears in some way in your run up to your Gears 5 announce.
Yeah.
Halo, by comparison, I feel like all the recent Halo news I've heard has been them issuing more roadmaps and plans to fix the Master Chief Collection.
Wait, really?
Really.
Really?
Really.
Huh.
And they just had their big esports thing.
Yeah.
So that stuff's still happening. but I feel like the trail went cold on Halo at some point.
Maybe.
But also, you've got studios that are devoted to those franchises,
Right.
so like that's clearly what they're working on.
Yeah.
It just becomes a matter like when it comes to stuff like that, like clearly there's something happening with a new Halo game.
Yeah, I mean it's been almost 3 years since Halo 5,
But
so I would have thought it would be this year.
so many different publishers take different approach, and some of them flip from year to year depending on what they have to show. Whether it's like Bethesda will typically get out and say, "Hey, we want to focus on games that are shipping this year."
Yeah.
And then that limits the scope of what they talk about greatly. Like there's more stuff that they could announce if they wanted to say, here's what we're doing next year and all that other stuff. But typically they limit it.
Come to think of it, they announced Halo 5 the year before it came out. So basically a year and a half before it came out, it got announced. So I would be shocked if they didn't at least announce Halo 6. Considering the cliffhanger that 5 ends on, like that's...
But also, like if it's not going to ship until next year, do they focus on it next year?
Maybe.
And
they'll take what they can get at this
yeah,
point.
like I was going to say, like that's a question that gets answered by like, what does the lineup look like?
Yeah.
Do they have enough to fill a press conference, or are they like, hey, we need a teaser? Like we don't need to say anything about a new Halo, but you would at least need to give me a fucking dude in fucking armor walking through a fucking desert. Something shit. Come on.
Whatever happened to that cloak, man? That was a weird idea. The
They're gonna make
Master
good-
Chief in power
You'll
armor
be
is
ashamed of your words and deeds
walking
when you
around-
see the plan for the cloak.
he's walking around in a cloak in the desert. That makes no sense. He's trying to keep sand out of there.
Yeah, it's like it gets gritty. It's hard to.
Messes up the joints. This thing mentions, I had totally forgotten about this, that there was a rumor that Playground Games is making a new Fable.
Right. They expanded to 2 teams.
Okay.
And then there was some talk that went around about them maybe doing Fable.
That would be a cool idea because like they make good racing games, but I would like to see something not a racing game
Fable Racers.
from them. Fable carts.
Yeah.
Ugh.
I don't know. There's something about the thought of a new Fable doesn't necessarily like
Like what is Fable
immediately
been the
right.
past,
Yeah,
like, handful of
it's been
years?
some canceled games.
Like
and-
3 was iffy. The Connect game was iffy.
Yeah.
Right, that Kinect game. You could bet the
There was some free to play stuff.
It's not on rails. I mean, at least that game was not on rails. It was definitely not on rails.
Right.
And then they were doing that free to play game that got canceled. So been a weird road for Fable for a while.
Yeah. So I don't know. You're right. I guess 3 wasn't that great. Like 2 was the high water mark, and 3 was just kind of
totally,
like
dude.
more of that,
Yeah.
but not
I
quite
remember
as good.
I reviewed Fable 3 and was all set to give it 3 stars and like sent the review around. And I remember Ryan like not challenging the score, but
Yeah.
definitely saying like you're gonna get some guff for this score. Like this is going to land pretty hard with the fan base.
Yeah.
And like in retrospect, I feel very good about that score.
Yes.
Like
yeah.
Fable 5 took on a reputation pretty quickly for not being what it should have been.
Fable 3. You mean 3?
Did I say-
You said 5.
Did I say
You said
5?
Fable 5.
There are, dude. I'm looking at this list: Gears 5, Halo 6, Forza Horizon 4. Like there are numbers
Yeah.
all over this list.
But Fable 5 will probably be.
Fable 3 is the
Yeah.
game I was talking about. But then like it's a bunch of sequels on this list, and then he pads it out with Sea of Thieves content update.
That seems like something they would spend time on.
No Man's Sky content update.
Oh, I guess it is coming to Xbox
Yeah.
One.
No Man's Sky will be out on Xbox shortly after.
I would not put No Man's Sky on a stage at
I
E3.
I
It's
probably
a-
wouldn't either, unless that next update that they were talking about is
Right.
really something crazy.
Yeah.
But still, you're
Mind
getting
blowing.
it so much later than the other platforms.
Probably.
Like it doesn't send a strong,
I mean, if that update was basically making it a different game, is what I mean.
but it's still coming on all platforms. Like it's
That's
not,
true.
you
That's
know,
true.
that's still not something that.
Well, they're the only one, unless PC, but they're the only console that has it in 4K, which they seem to care about.
Unless this next update includes
More
performance
4K.
changes.
If there's a
for
bunch of other games that
PlayStation
are
Or
getting
maybe I'm
4K
wrong, but
updates,
maybe
they
actually
just
it-
make that an entire section.
It might be native 4K on Pro, actually. Maybe it's not upscaled.
I have
maybe,
no idea.
maybe they don't even have that.
I have no
but-
idea.
I don't know.
Who knows?
They'll talk about services, their backwards compatibility, their Games Pass stuff.
Yeah, that stuff
Yeah,
is cool, but man, they've got to have some new games.
Yeah.
Like,
I
holy
feel like it's
crap.
got to be new games shipping soon, though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's kind of a
Yeah, you're right. They can't announce 3 new games and say, "Hey, coming
Right.
holiday 2019,"
yeah.
or not announce release dates. Like,
Did they ever did the Recore update ever hit?
yeah,
That happened?
It came
Okay.
out
Yeah.
Definitive edition
Yeah.
or whatever.
around the time of the X.
Okay.
Yeah,
I never looked at that.
that got new content.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I bet Recore is pretty cool now.
Hmm.
If you've never played through it before,
Yeah.
if they like filled all those content holes.
Hmm.
Let's see. Nintendo, Super Smash Switch, Splatoon 2 stuff, Octopath Traveler.
I don't think that one's going to be as big as.
Octopath.
Yeah.
It's kind of niche, but I
Yeah.
really want to play that. That looks cool.
Mm-hmm.
Animal Crossing Switch,
Hmm.
Metroid Prime 4. Yes, I'm gonna say yes.
I mean, that's been announced at least. Animal Crossing Switch. Did they announce?
No, they've
Yeah.
never. Whatever Retro Studios is working on,
Right.
maybe, which is not Metroid. Maybe it's just another Donkey Kong. I
Right,
don't know.
yeah.
Tropical Freeze is coming to the Switch soon.
Yeah,
right?
it is.
A Pokemon for Switch. I think they've said they're making
Yeah.
that, right?
Yep.
Maybe that'll be there. Fire Emblem Switch, maybe.
Hmm.
Yoshi Switch, maybe. That's announced, right? I think they showed a Yoshi game running on Switch.
It's all a blur when you get down to the Yoshi tier.
Yeah, I feel like Nintendo stuff is kind of a known quantity, right? Other than
I hope not.
what they will bring and what they
Honestly,
do. I hope they have some other
like,
stuff. But
I feel like they could. I feel like their announced slate is not doing it for me right now.
Well,
So
it's
I
all
would very much like to see like one or two more things.
all that confirmed stuff is very predictable.
Yeah.
New Metroid, new, blah blah blah. New
Where
Yoshi.
does Capcom versus Capcom show up? It's going to be on somebody's stage.
Someone's stage is going to have it.
They always have, some sort of announcement. They always populate somebody's stage.
Yeah. Darken someone's doorstep with
yeah.
more Mega Man or something.
I'm going to say Microsoft.
Microsoft will have Dark Void 2. They're
There we
funding
go.
it.
He's got a list of other that I'll just read through real fast. Cyberpunk 2077.
Yeah.
Maybe they could maybe have a trailer.
Seems. Oh,
They-
do you mean like showing at a press
Yeah,
conference or at the
this is
show?
him speculating if these are
I'm-
going to be there.
I feel like it'll be at the show.
It's got to be there in some capacity.
Yeah.
I would watch
hope.
an entire press conference about that game.
But they've also talked pretty realistically about like, hey, The Witcher 3 took a long fucking time and a lot of work. Like this game is a ways off.
Yeah. I guess that's true.
So I don't know. Soul Calibur 6, yeah, that'll definitely be there.
Yeah, I mean you've played that at some point, right?
oh, yeah, a few times now.
Below?
What's that?
Yeah.
I think it's a video game.
Mm.
I heard Tales Told
Yeah, recently.
once upon a time. They said Below is coming out this year.
Okay.
Publicly, they said Below will be out this year.
Cool.
It runs at 4K 60 on the Xbox One X.
All right.
That's the benefit of waiting
Yeah.
like 4 years or whatever. I still really want to play Below.
I've forgotten what Below is.
It's an overhead
You're not
Zelda
helping.
Zelda-esque game that's kind of like Dark Souls.
Okay.
Permadeath
Okay.
type stuff. Red Dead Redemption 2 at a press conference?
I could see it.
Yeah.
If anything, that seems like a game that you would go after hard if you didn't have a lot of games of your own
Oh,
to
yeah.
put on a stage.
Especially if
you
it's,
would
especially
chase
if it's
it down.
especially if it's going to look better on your platform.
Right.
You could see them maybe trying
Yeah.
to get that.
Pursuing it and going like, you get a bonus shark bag of gold.
Gold sack.
Gold sack with a shark on it.
Borderlands 3?
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah. 2K's got to have something.
Dead Island 2?
Huh.
Man, I haven't thought about that in a while.
Yeah. No one has.
I mean, that got rebooted and handed to a new developer.
Yeah.
So maybe. Who was like Sumo Digital doing that, I think? Or
really?
did I dream that up?
That's-
I think that's right.
I don't remember.
Dying Light 2? I fucking hope so, man. I really want a new Dying Light. But I think they're still making DLC for the first one.
Yeah, they just announced like,
Like,
hey, we're going to
announced some
stick
crazy
on this thing.
like third year of DLC for
Yeah,
that thing. So
Unprecedented.
I don't know, but they should make another Dying Light.
It's Metro or whatever.
Yeah, Metro Exodus is on this list. I'm
Yeah.
sure that will be there. Let's see. Catherine Full Body,
Oh, right.
Western release announcement?
Okay. Yeah, that doesn't seem like something you have to do at E3, but
Maybe not.
you could.
Let's see.
Not on stage, anyway.
Yeah, well, yeah.
I'm going to try to focus down.
Sega
to,
will have its own stage
Yeah.
for its ilk.
try to focus to some of the bigger stuff on here. Shenmue 3?
No, I feel like, that game's, they raised their money, put the thing out. Like, I don't think they benefit by showing, I don't think they benefit from taking a bunch of time to show stuff at an English trade show.
Especially after the last time they put out footage of that.
Yeah.
And it didn't go over super well.
Yeah, I don't think there's a need.
Let's see. Wild? I guess that
right?
Oh, that's Sony, right?
I guess
maybe
so.
not. I don't
Sony showed it at their thing, but it was kind of detached from.
don't have any idea who is actually making that game.
Who's
Yeah.
wild?
It's Michel Ancel,
Oh,
but he's making Beyond Good and Evil 2 now.
Or is he?
Or I don't know.
Or was that just a smokescreen to get Vivendi out of the way?
I don't know what either of those games are.
Like, what does Beyond Good and Evil 2 actually exist? Does Wild actually
I
exist?
don't know.
Is this the year for a new Trackmania?
Sure.
Is this the year for Questmania?
Sure.
A new Trials?
why not?
Mm,
Warhawk. Give me a new Warhawk.
Just up-resed, remastered Warhawk?
Seriously, I would play this shit.
Like PS1 Warhawk or like the
Oh
multiplayer?
God, no, the
Okay,
multiplayer
alright,
one. Yeah, the PS3 one.
All right.
Yes.
Some more question mark games. Resident Evil 2 remake.
They did more or less say that they were doing that, right?
That would be a pretty big E3 announcement. I feel like people would be into that. He mentions Blue Point Games. Apparently, I didn't see this, but apparently they have confirmed their next project is another remake. They did the Shadow of the Colossus remake for PS4, which turned out quite well.
Hmm.
And according to this guy's list, bigger in scope than Shadow of the Colossus is what they've said. Personally, I think it could be Demon's Souls. I don't know what else would that be.
So they'd be doing a remaster that's bigger in scope than.
Well, it's not. I mean, Shadow of the Colossus was more of a remake than a remaster.
Right.
They said we are doing another remake.
Huh. Bigger in scope.
I don't know. Okay, here we go. Talking about Shadow of the Colossus, the president of Blue Point said, this project served as a great point of growing the art team to the point where we can take on a full AAA game major scope of art content. So now our next step is let's improve the art pipeline. Let's improve the engine, the workflow for artists. Let's grow on the art side some more to handle our next project because it's a bit bigger.
Medieval's going to look great.
I don't know what that would be.
Spyro Trilogy. Turns out it was them. No, I don't know.
For
That's- yeah.
fucking K.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, Demon's Souls is not a bad guess, I guess.
Yeah.
For that.
I mean, they are shutting those servers. Or they shut them off, or they
yeah.
are going to shut them off?
They
or-
shut off
Yeah.
already. New Mortal Kombat?
Seems likely.
Almost definitely, right?
Set your watch.
Yeah.
Or yeah, like, but also at the same time, I'm with you. There's a certain amount of just like, like that's the cycle. That's the
Yeah.
2 year.
It doesn't feel right though.
The
I don't
2 year
know.
plan they do with their fighting games. You know, Injustice 2 has done its thing. They just re-released another hey, here's a pack with all the DLC.
Yeah, the legendary
Yeah.
edition or whatever. Yeah.
So
Yeah, I mean, yeah, on paper it lines up, but doesn't feel right. I don't know if I'm ready.
I feel like I want it to be a more.
I don't want more Injustice stuff.
I want it to be a more dramatic change.
Oh, of course. Yeah.
Than,
that's why I
than
think-
their last 3 or 4 games have been.
And that's why I think they take another year.
Maybe, but I bet also that they've been thinking about that for a long time and might not need the extra year
Yeah, true.
to make the changes. But yeah, we'll see.
last game on this list. Rocksteady's new game?
Sure.
The Adventures of Bebop.
Yep.
It's very time for them to show something, right? It's been 3 years since
Oh yeah.
the last Batman game.
I mean, if you look at what would a Warner lineup look like this year? You know, the
Wonder Woman game. I don't know.
that'd be cool. I mean, where if Rocksteady was doing that, but I mean, like a Rocksteady game, another Realm game,
Right.
like.
Well, it wouldn't have to come out this year.
It wouldn't have to come out this year, but I mean, just in terms of what would they announce / show at an E3, I feel like those would be the pillars of it because Middle Earth is already out, so it's not like that studio has another game right there.
Yeah.
Null 5, whatever.
Man, don't fuck around, dude.
Yeah.
Should make another No One Lives Forever.
You don't actually want it. You think you do,
Dude, No One Lives Forever 2 is one of my favorite game experiences of all time.
but and now imagine it slightly tarnished by a Null 3 released today by people who might not have fully understood what made those games great.
Hello. Somebody out there could make a good Null.
All right, Null 3, but you get these boxes, and inside are legendary orcs. Who's in? But yeah, well, Rocksteady did that Batman VR thing. That was like their last.
Yeah,
thing.
I mean that was pretty
So,
small in scope.
Yeah, well, I'm sure it still took a lot of time to get up to speed on VR and all that stuff. So it probably took more time than you would think.
Maybe,
But
yeah.
I'm trying to think what they had last year. I guess it was last year it was the Batman VR stuff. Or I guess Injustice was already out last year. I'm trying to like
yeah, Batman VR was 2 years ago.
okay.
God, man, I can't remember. I'm sure they had some Lego stuff.
Right. Yeah, so the awesome Lego stuff.
Injustice was close to being out, but
I don't know what else Warner would have. Maybe Rocksteady's doing something original. I don't know. Maybe it's not like necessarily another comic book property.
But I mean, like a Rocksteady game, no matter what it is. I feel like this would be the time for
Sure,
it.
yeah, it's definitely been a while. And they still make really good games. I would love to see what they're doing next. I'd like to hear from Dax Skin again.
Yeah.
I'd like to hear one of his pitches. Those are always fun.
You could probably make a really cool Wonder Woman game.
Probably. I haven't seen that movie, but yeah, it seems like that's a good suite of powers and such.
Shields would be a lot of fun to play with.
Yeah.
All right, that's all this guy has got on his giant list of E3 stuff. I'm sure there will be plenty of things we haven't thought of.
Right.
But I don't know. That sounds like a decent cross section.
I feel like there's a lot of potential for this year's show, just in terms of announcements and game. You know, like I was saying last week, we're at that point in the cycle.
Yeah.
Games.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It should just kind of start to flow. But everyone's gotten so skittish about what they announce when and all that. Everyone's, like so many people have gotten into that whole, we're announcing it because it's coming out this year, the shorter cycle, all that sort of stuff. So I think E3 gets a little bit nullified by some of that.
Yeah, that's true.
Because the announcements get spread out throughout the year a little bit more now, which is fine. But I don't know.
I hate predictions.
It still feels like
I hate being
Microsoft has the
wrong.
most to like gain with a really strong showing.
Totally.
But that's what they had in
They have the most to
2015
catch
or whatever,
up
right?
on.
I mean, all the other pieces of the puzzle are kind of in place for them now, right? Like they've got the powerful console, they've got a subscription service that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
They've got not all, but a lot of your favorite old games now work on that platform.
Right.
Like
they just need to be like taking the big swings on software.
Yeah.
Whether it's like funding other stuff or doing it themselves or I don't know. Like that's the
I want to see it.
Yeah. Maybe they hold there's that speculation a while ago about like, oh, maybe Microsoft's going to buy a studio.
Oh, right.
Maybe that
like
stuff.
like a big purchase.
Yeah, maybe something like that happens.
Significant.
Or like around E3.
Yeah, maybe.
Just to give it maximum splash.
Sure.
If you can keep it a secret that long, that's hard.
Yeah. Some giant deal. Are you talking like buy a major publisher?
Something like that.
Or buy the makers of PUBG? Because those are kind of different things.
I guess those are different things, but yeah, I don't know. I don't think you buy PUBG at this point.
No, I agree.
I think that was something that might have made sense at a point, and now it's probably too expensive, and also like the genre has gotten just muddy enough to where you're like, maybe we'll wait and see how this plays out.
Yeah. Yes, I agree.
Well, we'll know soon.
Yeah.
What is it, 50-something days?
God. Yeah, let's go check the GameSpot counter.
Right.
That looming screen.
It's a terrible thing.
I avert my eyes.
46.
Did you
46?
Is that actually true?
I believe so.
Jeez, man. Just this giant looming TV out there that they've got a
countdown clock on.
down to the second counter until E3 starts.
God, why?
Burns when I look at it.
Man. Hostile working conditions.
It's going to be exciting, though.
Yeah, it'll be fun. I'm super curious to see what gets announced.
Yeah.
All right, man. Whew, that was an exhausting list of stuff.
Yeah.
It's a good list.
All right. Now seems like a good time to call this podcast then. What do you say?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
All right.
It's time.
Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, we're going to take a break on the after show this week. Ben Pack
Okay.
is away on assignment.
Send and packing.
Yep. That's what we did.
That Ben pack.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
And
Yeah.
so we'll get back on that next week, hopefully.
Cool.
And
All right.
yeah.
good to know. Well, we'll have a lot of other stuff going on this week.
Yep.
Which will be in the upcoming box shortly.
That's right.
So keep your eyes peeled. We'll see you next week. Thanks.